Day 2 of the 2023 European Rowing Championships. Race number 1, we have the preliminary race for the mixed coxed 4, PR3 Mixed coxed 4. Lining up in lane 1, we have Germany. In lane 2, France. Lane 3, Great Britain. And in lane 4, Italy. There we have it. We're underway with the first race of the day here on day 2 of the European Rowing Championships, Bled, Slovenia. The preliminary race for the PR3 Mixed coxed 4. Now, being a preliminary race, all 4 of these boats will progress to the A final, where they'll be able to contest for the medals. But from this race will determine the lane draw for which lanes they'll be in. It's their first running against each other, and it will be an opportunity to size each other up for their strategies and just how much power they're holding in reserve at each stage of the race. So lots to look forward to as they now come up through 200 metres. Tough to choose the early leader. Germany and Great Britain pretty much level pegging. Germany at 40 strokes a minute, Great Britain at 37. So we'll let them get through another 100 metres or so as they settle into their race rhythm to really pick the early leader.
Začenja se drugi dan Evropskega prvenstva na Bledu, začenjajo pa ga mešani četverci s krmarjem para veslačev, no in prvi 4 čolni so se podali že na progo. Nemčija na progi 1, Francija na progi 2, aktualni evropski prvaki Britanci na progi 3 in pa na progi 4 Italijani.
Through 400 metres now, and still very little to split. Germany and Great Britain at the front of the field here. They're both at 35, 36 strokes a minute. Great Britain starting to just nose ahead ever so slightly. Most of this crew from Great Britain were the World Championship crews of last year in the PR3 Mixed 4. They also doubled up where we had Francesca Allen and Jedra Rakowskaite, the bow pair from this boat, win the women's pair, PR3 women's pair last year as well. So a lot of high caliber athletes out there on the water, because we also found that the German boat was silver medalists last year and the French boat were the bronze medalists. So it's going to be interesting to see how things pan out in this race and how their winter training programs have prepared them for the 2023 season. Now we're coming towards 700 or so meters in, and we've got Camilla Hadland-Horrocks, who's sitting on a catamaran at around the 1,000-meter mark. So we're going to catch up with Camilla and say good morning. Now, Camilla, how's things looking from where you are? What are the conditions like? I'm sure flat as a pancake as it is down here at the finish.
Yeah, not much change here up at the 1,000, Pete. It is glorious rowing conditions once again here on Lake Bled, and a great start for these PR3 Mixed coxed 4s in this preliminary race. And like you said, such talent here within Europe, especially from the Paralympic stage. We've got all 3 medalists from last year's World Championships contesting in this prelim race, and it is the gold medalists, Great Britain, that move out into the lead. Now, This is a slight change from the crew that won at the Paralympic Games in Tokyo, and also a slight change from last season's crew as well that won the World Championships, with Morgan Feist-Noyes coming into the 3 seats of this crew in place of Oliver Stanhope. And of course, the return of Erin Kennedy after the European Championships last year being her final race before undergoing treatment for breast cancer. And amazing to see her back and leading this field through the 1,000 metres by a length now, Great Britain over Germany. It's then the bronze and silver medalists, as you say, Pete, that are going bow ball for bow ball here in the centre of the course. Currently, Germany just edging with every stroke, but France choosing this moment to put in a bit of a push, put in a move, and they're moving so well here. Margot Boulet in the stroke seat, so experienced, just knowing the right time to lengthen out for France and start this move. They're running right alongside each other, and this is a wonderful race here for second. And could be proving to be a bit of a taster as to what we might see in the final. Now, not quite as dominant a margin as we'd usually see from Great Britain. I suspect just over a length and a half is a little bit too pressured for them at this point in time compared to the lengths and lengths that we're used to seeing from this crew, but nonetheless still a very comfortable lead from arguably one of the most dominant boats in world rowing history in this Paralympic class. At the back of the field, well, it's Italy at the moment that just round off in fourth, but they're heading towards 500 metres where Richie will catch you up on the action.
Different disciplines, they change between the 4, the pair, the double, so they have a lot of experience and medals clocked up over the years. So going through 500, it is GB leading out more, just about a length of clear water, and then it's 3/4 of a length. The crew from Italy just ahead of Germany, but as I said, they're coming through 500. The Germans were putting on a push, trying to get back into contention for second place as they come down to the last quarter of the race. The French crew, the Italian crew, some way back there in 4th place at the moment. So we mentioned these are the preliminary races. They're just looking for positions for the final later on in the weekend, but great to see that they're out there racing all the way to the line here. We saw some crews yesterday coming out and know that they'd be quite happy to go through the repechage process if there was one to qualify. A little bit different setup here with 4 crews going through automatically. And just coming into view, Pete, you can see the range of experience that this GB crew have. It's easy to see why they're leading this one out well ahead here coming into the last few hundred metres.
Yeah, this is the performance you'd expect from the GB PR3 Mixed 4. They've been on top of the world for many years. 2 of these athletes, as we've heard, Jeddah Rakoskaiche and Erin Kennedy, the coxswain, were the Paralympic champions in Tokyo 2020. They are now joined by Francesca Allen, Morgan Feist-Noyes, and Ed Fuller, and they're showing their calibre out there on the water. I think the only boat who will be surprised is Germany, who've dropped back into 3rd, to France, who've had a really great race here.
Takole se zaključuje preliminarna tekma mešanih četvercev s krmarjem v paraveslačev, v spredju pa aktualni prvaki Britanci, ampak tudi Nemci in Francozi dokazujejo, da so nevarni.
Well, Great Britain take the win in the preliminary race. I think that's exactly as the form book would have described. France, though, they can walk away from this with a huge amount of confidence, I think. They were bronze medalists at the World Championships in Rachice last year. They've now taken 2nd in this preliminary race, so I think they'll be taking a little bit of confidence to maybe step up on the podium come the final. Germany might be thinking what happened through that 3rd 500 where the positions changed and they dropped back into 3rd, and then of course we had Italy in 4th, not too far off the pace. So lots to look forward to as the PR3 Mixed Coxed 4 A final that we can look forward to on Sunday morning.
Preliminarna tekma torej se je razpletla nekako v stilu lanskega evropskega prvenstva. Na prvem mestu Velika Britanija, zamenjala pa sta se Nemški in pa francoski čoln, torej Francozi lani bronasti, tokrat na drugem mestu in pa Nemci na tretjem, lani srebrni.
Well, we're into the swing of things now as we start the second heat of the day, the last remaining heat of the championships, in fact. It's the preliminary race for the women's 8. They're coming up through 250 metres already. We've got Italy in lane 1, Great Britain in 2, Romania in lane 3 and Germany in lane 4. Positions through 250 though, Romania are out in front and by some margin already. It's nearly up to half a length ahead of Great Britain, who only have a seat or two up on Germany. You can see the meters up on the big screen describing the distances. Romania is still up there at 42 strokes a minute, so significantly overrating the rest of the field. Great Britain at 38. Italy are dropping out the back of the field. They're down at rating 24, so I think they might just be holding something in reserve and deciding not to go for it now and making sure that they hold everything for the A final, which is on Sunday, the last race of the championship weekend. So there's the standings through 500. Romania really going out to set the record straight as to Romania being top of women's rowing, and they're such a formidable force, in fact. It's no surprise to see them out in front already. Coming through 750 then, and Romania a commanding lead, and this means that they'll be coming into sight of Camilla Hadland-Horrocks, who's at the 1,000. Now, Camilla, this Romanian women's squad is just amazing. What a force they are, and particularly the women's 8. They've been on the top for so long.
They really have, and for me, what makes it most impressive is that they continuously double up into these categories. You know, it's amazing to see that all of this crew doubling up into various boats, whether it be the double, the pair, the four. They're an amazing group of people that just are able to produce it regardless of racing other events at this regatta. And they're out here, they're still up striking 39 strokes a minute. They lead out Great Britain. This is very familiar to last year's European Championships in Munich, where it's almost a carbon copy. Romania jumping out of the start and Great Britain on the back foot chasing. But these two crews, well, they've got about almost a length of clear water now over Germany that sit in third. The Italians still paddling down this course, of course, with a preliminary event, all crews progressing through here to the final, so they might just be choosing to reserve some energy. But this Romanian 8, even at 38 that they are now, just looks stunning. They're giving the boat so much time. Simona Radish in the stroke seat that jumped into last year's World Championship crew to claim gold when she wasn't supposed to be racing in the 8. Clearly worked for the Romanians, and they've decided to keep it that way for this Europeans. They now lead Great Britain by a length and a quarter. Great Britain, of course, talking of doubling up, two of this crew, Esme Booth and Emily Ford, will be racing the repechage of the women's pairs in just an hour's time. So there's plenty more to come from that crew. Perhaps again, just following the race plan that they've set out, leaving some stones unturned for the final, but moving towards the final 750 metres. Richie, this Romanian 8 just in a class of its own.
Absolutely, it even looks like they're in a race of their own. They've opened up so much of a clear water lead here, coming up with 500 metres to go. Really nice rowing from them. They've maintained that high rate right the way through the race. They're down at a sensible 38 at the moment, coming up to the 500 metre mark. GB in second place at the moment. And again, we saw the Italians, they're just taking this as a training spin. Nice warm-up for them, and they'll hold off and wait until the final in Sunday. So there's some way back. The German crew in third place at the moment, staying in touch with GB, and I'm sure over the last 500 metres we might see a little push from them to come back to try challenge. But the 500 metre mark gone for Romania. Just watching them come through there, absolutely perfection with the blade work. And the timing of the strokes even up at that high rates. So they're pushing on here now, about 2 lengths, 2.5 lengths of clear water. The Germans just looking to get back in touch with GB, as I said, to try challenge for second place, but with a length of the boat between them, it's unlikely that in the short space of 500 meters for an 8 that they're going to be able to come back. But it's these three crews leading it out. And as I say that now, the GB crew are even taking the rate down to 30, so I think they're striding it out here. They've opened up the lungs in the early part of the race, and they're quite happy to take it home from here. The Italians just coming through the 500-meter mark now, rating 23, so very much a training spin for them. But Pete coming into view now, and for those on the grandstand, the class of the Rhone, as Camilla was saying, the Romanian 8 just coming in towards the finish.
Yeah, that's it, Richie. The Romanians don't want anybody to be mistaken as to who is on the top of the women's 8 field. So they're still going up there at 38 strokes a minute. An impressive pace coming into the red boys, considering the others have wound down. But I guess everything is good race practice and good training.
Olimpijske in pa evropske prvakinje ne dopuščajo dvoma, kdo kraljuje med ženskimi osmerci. Romunke suvereno prihajajo do prvega mesta. Vse pa kaže, da bosta v boju za medalje tudi britanska in pa nemška posadka.
Well, that's Romania across the line, and it looks as though Great Britain, having eased right off the pace, might get moved through here by Germany into the last couple of strokes, but they're not showing any sign of changing their rhythm. They cross the line, perhaps half a canvas up on Germany. So Romania, Great Britain, then Germany, and then coming in for fourth place, very much eased off the pace here. Still at 24 strokes a minute, we have Italy. So that's the 1, 2, 3, 4. They'll all progress through to the A final, and we'll see them race again in the last race of the championships at 1:41 local time here in Bled on Sunday afternoon.
Ja, torej razplet preliminarne tekme ženskih osmercev, lahko bi rekli kar pričakovan. Romunke torej zanesljivo kot prve v cilju. Bo pa boj za srebrno medaljo verjetno med Britanijo in pa Veliko Britanijo in pa Nemčijo. Seveda pa se marsikaj lahko še zgodi, torej finalni nastop čaka ženske osmerce čisto na koncu letošnjega evropskega prvenstva, torej v nedeljo.
Well, folks, that's the two heats, or the two preliminary races of the morning done. We're moving into our block of repêchages now, starting off with the first repêchage for the lightweight women's double sculls. We've got Federica Cesarini and Silvia Crosio for Italy in lane 1, Aoife Casey and Margaret Kremen for Ireland in 2, Dimitra Kontu and Zoe Fitsu for Greece in lane 3, Lara Tiefenthaler and Luisa Altenhuber for Austria in 4, and Natalia Miguel Gomez and Rociola Sanchez for Spain in lane 5.
Takole zdaj pa začenjamo že z repasažnimi boji in prve se bodo na popravnem izpitu pomerile ženske v lahkih dvojnih dvojcih. V prvi skupini, v prvem repasažu so na progi 1 Italija, na progi 2 Irska, na progi 3 Grčija, na progi 4 Avstrija in na progi 5 Španija.
Coming at through 500, here are the standings. Greece out in front, and they've got a good margin here. It's about a length up on the currently level Ireland and Austria for second and third. Not much splitting those two. And then we've got Italy and Spain trailing in fourth and fifth. It's only 2 to go through to the A final. So there's a lot to play for here, because if you want to be in the A final and stand a chance for the medals, you need to be in the top 2 here. For those not familiar with the concept of the lettered finals, an A final is where the medals are won, places 1 through 6 in the championship rankings, and then when you have a B final, that is essentially places 7 to 12, and a C final places 13 to 18, and so on. So it's really important that if these athletes want to stand a chance at a medal, they get into that A final, and it's going to be tight between Ireland and Austria as things stand at the moment, trailing behind Greece, the current leaders. Now they're through 750, and it's a great showing here from Zoe Fitsu and Dimitri Konta out in front. So let's see how things progress. And Camilla, you're going to have to split Ireland and Austria for us as they come through towards halfway.
Yes, I'm going to definitely be keeping an eye on Ireland and Austria. I mean, if I was to sort of look at the form book, you'd expect last year's World Championship bronze medalist Ireland, Aoife Casey and Margaret Cremen to be moving through this field. But what a great showing from Kontu and Fitsu, as you say. The Greeks currently at least a length up on that very tight race for second. Ireland, I think now just starting to get into their pace and pulling away somewhat from the Austrians who were challenging them early on. And going with them, well, it's the Italians. And in fact, I think the Italians are probably not so much the dark horses in this race, if you count Olympic champion Federica Cesarini in the bow seat as a dark horse, I'm not sure. But they've now got overlap with Ireland. They're 3/4 of a length down. They're a canvas up on Austria. They've rode through in that last 200 metres. They've got one more crew to pick off to get into that very important top 2 spot to get into the A final. Greece, though, looking rather unflustered. They are amazing out here on Lake Bled. Just a quick look there from Dimitra Kontu in the bow seat to check in on Ireland's progress, but they can see they've got almost a length of clear water now. Ireland really charging at 38 strokes a minute, and Italy hanging on for dear life here to try and go with them and not break that contact. 750 metres to go. It's still Greece up at 36 strokes a minute, underrating Ireland, who sit in that special second place to get through to the A final. But the Italians nailing themselves to that bit of overlap to try and, as they might, to keep in with a sniff of the A final. And, you know, again, Federica Cesarini in the bow seat just 2 years ago, an Olympic champion, a world best time holder, and being joined by the under-23 singles champion in Sylvia Crosio. Richie, you'd expect some fireworks from them coming in this final 500 metres.
Meter mark, leading it out, and it's all to play for that second qualifying spot. As you said, Italy and Ireland battling it out, but Austria staying in touch as well to try challenge when they come down to the last quarter of the race here. The Irish crew, Aoife Casey and Margaret Cremen, bronze medalists at last year's World Championships, 4th in the Euros as well, the highest rating crew over the course of this race. They're up at a 36-38, came off the start at 52, and they are just holding off the challenge of the Italians at the moment with about half a length. So at the moment it's Greece leading out. They've about a length of clear water back to Ireland in second place at the moment, looking for the second qualifying spot. Italy doing everything that they can to get back in touch and challenge for that other spot. The other crews back then, Austria, who had been in touch earlier on, looks like they are falling back now and in line with the Spanish crew as well. The Italian crew, interestingly, their boat was underweight, so they were relegated to 6th in their heat in yesterday's race, but doing their best to get back in touch here as they come down to the last few hundred metres. So Pete coming into view here, really great rowing from Kontu and Fitsu to lead this one out for Greece. And hopefully, if I'm allowed to say it, hopefully the Irish are doing enough there to get that second qualifying spot, but coming under increased pressure from Italy.
Yeah, this is going to be a tight one for that second place. Italy have found their mojo through that middle 1,000, coming back from 4th at 500, 3rd through the middle 1,000, and now are starting to draw up on Ireland, who are feeling the pressure. Ireland have gone to 41, Italy at 38. Italy's boat speed, just that smidgen better, means that they're closing in, and it's going to be absolutely neck and neck to the line. There's going to need to be an awful lot of support from the grandstand to help these two crews as they come into this painful section, the last 150.
Ja, dve vstopnici vodita v veliki finale. Eno sta že zgrabili Grkinji, ampak za drugo pa ogorčen boj med irsko in pa italijansko posadko. Napeto bo vse do ciljne črte.
They're absolutely neck and neck. This is an amazing race. The response from Ireland, they go to 43, and Ireland hold it over the line to hold on to that second place into the A final. Greece, a dominant performance from them, so they win the first repechage. Ireland take second and join Greece in the A final. Valiant charge from Italy. They take third place ahead of Austria. In fourth and fifth place, Spain. They'll go through to the B final.
Ja, takole iz tega repasaža se torej v veliki finale, v finale A uvrščata grška in pa irska posadka, ki je v zadnjih metrih uspela ugnati italijansko, ki je vse skozi se bila na repu torej irske posadke in jim grozila, da jim vzame to vstopnico v veliki finale, ampak na koncu se je Irkama vendarle izšlo.
Well, that was the first of the two repêchages for the lightweight women's doubles. Second one's already underway. We've got 4 boats taking part here. Matilda Persson and Maria Mork Pedersen for Denmark in lane 1. Patricia Mertz and Frederik Roll for Switzerland in 2. Martina Radosh and Katarzyna Wellner for Poland in lane 3. And Marion Reichardt and Joanna Reichardt for Germany in lane 4. They're already up through 900 and nothing to split the leading two here, Camilla. But can Germany get back on terms? They look like they're moving up through the field into third now.
Yeah, Germany moving up into third, but in danger of being dropped if this race at the front continues in this manner, because with 2 crews to go through to the A final, a race this tight is just going to keep pushing the leading crews away. But Germany certainly got a bit between their teeth, and they've put in a really big push here, actually. Marion Reichardt in the bow seat took a quick look over her right-hand shoulder to see that they still had the smallest of margins overlap with their bow ball to the sterns of Switzerland and Poland. And that is enough for them to be motivated to continue pushing up at 39 strokes a minute to stay in contention for that second space. Race leaders for the first half, Switzerland, now just being overturned by Poland in this third 500 metres. It's a new coach for Mertz and Rolf Switzerland. They've started training in Varese under the watch of Paola Grizzetti, and that training certainly paid off at the first World Cup of the season in Zagreb. But they are going to have to keep their wits about them as Germany from an outside lane over to the far side on their left. I'm not sure whether they've quite spied this challenge that's starting to mount here from the Germans, but they're moving ever closer. And as we saw in that previous heat, that previous repêchage anyway, the final 500 metres is certainly where it counts. Germany still in contention in third, but it's Poland leading the way ahead of Switzerland into the final 500 metres. Richie.
Really exciting finish again, similar to the previous repêchage that we have seen. These lightweight doubles give us some of the best racing of the weekend. The Swiss crew, the most experienced, as you said there, Camilla, a lot of medals under their belts. First at the World Championships last year, at World Cup 1 recently, and then 5th last year in the A final at the World Championships and again at the Euros. So they'd be the informed crew. The Polish crew as well, they have said that their priority for this year is Olympic qualification, so they'd be looking to get some great results under their belt at this European Championships in advance of that. Just coming through 500, and it is neck and neck. It is just the Polish crew half a canvas ahead of Switzerland at the moment. They're the 1 and 2, and the crew from Germany on the bandstand side doing their very best, but very high rating crew. The German crew up still at 38 strokes per minute versus 35, 36 for the other crews. So they're there in third place, back then to the Danish crew in fourth, a little bit off the pace. No doubt about the leaders here though. We have seen the Polish crew move in there. They're being chased down by the Swiss crew, and it's neck and neck with just a canvas separating them coming into the last 250 metres. They look secure. I don't think the Germans might have any left in the tank here, Pete, to challenge for that second qualifying spot.
Yeah, it's a good question, Richie. The Reichardt twins from Germany, they're up at 38, 39 strokes a minute, but they just haven't quite got the boat speed to match this leading duo of Poland and Switzerland, who are continuing to pull away as they start to ratchet up the rating coming into the Red Boys.
Ja, vse kaže, da je že tik pred ciljem jasno, kam bodo šle vstopnice za finale A. Poljska in Švica sta v ospredju, ogorčen dvoboj teh dveh posadk za zmago v tem repasažu, ampak obe posadki se lahko uvrstita v veliki finale.
Well, the cowbells are ringing out here from the grandstand, trying to help Patricia Mertz and Frederik Roll move through Poland, but the Polish boat here is a formidable force. Radosh and Wellner out in front. They've got half a length coming to the last 30 metres. I think they're going to cling on to the lead. Both of these boats, nonetheless, will go through to the A final, but pride of place is at stake. Poland hold it just under a canvas ahead of Switzerland. We'll see them both again in the A final. Germany, therefore, will lead the way into the B final to contest places 7 through 12 in the championship rankings, where they'll be joined by 4th place here, Denmark.
Kakšen dvoboj sta prikazali Poljska in pa Švicarska. Posadka v teh zadnjih metrih, kako sta pospešili Švicarki. Nažalost, kakšen meter je zmanjkal za zmago v tem repasažu, ampak nič ne de. Obe posadki gresta v veliki finale, kjer bosta imeli priložnost za ponovn spopad tudi za medalje.
Well, we're properly into the swing of things now. Racing coming through thick and fast on 5-minute intervals. The first repechage for the women's quadruple sculls is coming up through halfway. We've got Poland in lane 1, Germany in 2, Ukraine in lane 3, France in lane 4, and Norway in lane 5. So let's jump straight to Camilla and see how it's unfolding.
Thanks, Pete. Well, unfolding in the way we'd expect it to based on the results of yesterday's heats. Ukraine out in front by just shy of a length. Germany just clinging on to that overlap. Both of these crews familiar to finals at major championships. Ukraine 4th at last year's World Championships with 3 of this crew, with Anastasia Kozenkova coming into the 3 seats to join them for this European Championships. Similarly for Germany, running second place in that second spot through to the A final as it stands. Bow 3, 6th in the Munich European Championships last year. So these two at the moment looking set to go through, a length separating them now. It's then France that sit in third with Jeanne Roche in the stroke seat, stepping up from the junior championships, just 19 years of age, and leading this crew down the third 500 in third position. But they've got quite the gap to try and bridge to make it into a qualifying spot alongside Germany. I think in the big boats, maybe just too much of a gap, but I could be speaking too soon. It's then Norway, followed by Poland in those other spots that would be progressing through to the B final, but they'll be fast approaching Richie at 500 metres.
Yeah, just coming into view for me here now, and it is the Ukrainian crew hot off their win in the World Cup 1 regatta. They're looking to maintain the winning streak here in the repechage for the women's quad sculls. Just one crew qualified from the heats, which is why the repechages are so competitive here. Tough qualifications in a lot of the categories, with one going through directly to the A final. So an extra race for some of the rowers here. Ukraine just a little bit of clear water ahead of the German crew in second place. They're the 1 and 2, looking good for qualification at the moment, ahead of the French crew in third. Again, a little bit of clear water, then back to the crew from Norway and Poland in 5th and 6th at the moment. So they're spread out fairly well, but we could see that the French crew, they were trying to mount on a challenge to come back onto the German crew and take the second qualifying spot. But with just over 300 metres to go, it looks like it's secure at the moment for the crew for Ukraine. Germany going with them. They're the 1 and 2 at the moment. And Pete, great to see Ukraine looking to continue the winning form from World Cup 1.
Yeah, they look good out in front, don't they? Katerina Dudchenko setting a great rhythm. 36 strokes a minute. They're underrating the boats that flank them on either side. Germany, as we've heard, on one side and France on the other. Both trying to make sure that they get into that second place behind Ukraine and a position through to the A final. But Ukraine, a formidable force out in front, leading this chevron formation of boats into the last 150.
Ja, Ukrajinke so že včeraj v pretekmovanju pokazale, da so konkurenčne, zaostale za aktualnimi evropskimi prvakinjami, no tokrat pa v prvem repasažu ženskih dvojnih četvercev zmagujejo.
Last 50 metres, Ukraine certain for a place through to the A final, and they'll be joined by Germany, who have nearly got overlap on the Ukrainian boat after the last couple hundred metres push that they put in to fend off that charge from France. So Ukraine and Germany progress to the A final. France are coming in third here, 3/4 of a length up on Norway for 4th, and then 5th place will go to Poland on the tower side of the course. Those 3 boats are going to the B final.
Ukrajinkam se iz te repasažne skupine pridružujejo še Nemke, torej ti 2 posadki bomo videli tudi v finalu A.
So that was the first of the 2 repechages for the women's quadruple sculls. The second one is coming up through 750 metres. We've got the Czech Republic in lane 1, Romania in 2, Italy in lane 3, and Switzerland in lane 4. Italy out in front, but nothing separating 1, 2, and 3 here, where we've got Switzerland and Romania just about a canvas down on these leaders, Italy. So we'll see how this pans out as they come up towards halfway.
Torej še druga repasažna skupina ženskih dvojnih četvercev je zdaj na vodi. Češka, Romunija, Italija in pa Švica se borita še za 2 vstopnici v finale A in katera posadka se bo pridružila ukrajinski in pa nemški iz današnjega dne.
Well, they're coming towards halfway, so let's jump to Camilla. It's all changing again now.
Yeah, it's all shuffling around here. I looked down for a second. I thought the Italians were leading, which they had been through the first 500 metres, but closing in around them, Switzerland and Romania now drawing level. It's going to be a 3-boat fight through the 1,000-metre timing mark for the lead, and I think Switzerland will get the honours as they go through a canvas up now on Italy and Romania. This is a new Italian combination that led out from the 4 athletes joining from various different boat types last season, so looks to be a good combination for something so new. The Romanians, well, they're led out by an experienced under-23 combination from the quad in the stern pair, but it's Switzerland currently that continue to move. Their boat speed looking really good. Fastest boat on the course at 37 strokes a minute. And this Swiss quad were unfortunately having to roll over to Ukraine at the first World Cup of the season in Zagreb, but they've got into their rhythm now. They appear to be sort of moving through in this third 500, and it's a really savage qualification system, as we've learnt all through this morning so far. First 2 to the A final, 3 boats in alignment, currently Switzerland, and then you could flip a coin between Italy and Romania for that second spot through. So I'm going to hand it over to Richie to try and separate those crews.
Thanks, Camilla. It is do or die for these women's quads with just 2 crews to qualify and 3 in contention. The crew from the Czech Republic just some way off the pace back and forth at the moment. Clear water between them and the leading pack of Switzerland, Italy and Romania. The lead changed a number of times, as Camilla was saying earlier on in the race, with the Romanians, Italians and Swiss all in contention, but it looks like coming through the 500-metre mark, it's still the Swiss crew nearest to the grandstand leading out. The cowbells will be going soon to encourage them as they come in towards the run in towards the finish. They just have half a canvas ahead of the crew from Italy, the crew from Italy in second place there ahead of Romania. But so the Romanian crew here just doing their best to try get back and push the Italian crew, but they're going to run out of water fairly quick at the speed these boats go in the women's quad. So it's still at the moment, we're just watching Italy now, we're the fastest boat out there. They're taking the rate up and trying to open up more of a gap there so that they can secure that second spot. The Romanians responding now as they come up with just 200 metres to go. It's looking good here for the crew from Pete. It's looking good for the crew from Switzerland, but can the Romanians come back and try get that second qualifying spot?
I tell you what, Richie, I would not want a Romanian women's boat bearing down, considering the strength in their squad at the moment. They're going up to 40 strokes a minute, but in fact, Switzerland and Italy are pulling away, so a great finishing sprint here as we see Italy and Switzerland absolutely level.
Ja, kakšna veslaška srhljivka v tej drugi repasažni skupini. Tamle v spredju Švica in pa Italija v boju za zmago v tej repasažu. Pa tudi Romunija se ne da, pač 2 vstopnici vodita v A finale.
Well, it's looking clear-cut which 2 boats are going through. There's nearly a length separating, but at the front, there's pretty much nothing separating Switzerland and Italy. Switzerland, I call that by a matter of centimetres ahead of Italy. Those 2 boats are going through to the A final, and despite a great effort from the young combination from Romania, they will be going through to the B final to be joined by the Czech Republic, crossing the line here for 4th place.
Švica in Italija torej v finalu A. Za malenkost so Švicarke prehitele Italijanke, pa tudi Romunke so se izkazale s finišem, žal pa kakšen meter premalo za veliki finale.
So we're moving now from the women's quads to the men's quads. The first repechage is underway. We've got Croatia in lane 1, Norway in 2, Romania in 3, Italy in lane 4 and Lithuania in lane 5.
Torej, zdaj pa že gremo k moškim dvojnim četvercem. Posadka Hrvaške na progi 1, na progi 2 Norveška, na progi 3 Romunija, na progi 4 Italija, na progi 5 pa Litva.
Through 800 metres already, Italy out in front now. Camilla, who's your money on in this race?
I think it would have to be the Italians for me. They didn't perform too well in yesterday's heat, but with the pedigree that we've got in this crew, bronze medalists from last year's World Championships, I just can't see anyone coming past them. But it's still going to be tight at the front of the field, very similar to the women's quads where we've got 3 crews contending for 2 spaces. And through the 1,000, it's still Italy by a canvas ahead of Norway. Great to see the Norwegians here. Yule, Oyaseta, Helseth and Solbakken for Norway, just currently keeping eyes on Romania that again sit 1 canvas down. What a great fight between these 3 crews against the picturesque backdrop of the island here on Lake Bled. The Lithuanians then sit in 4th ahead of Croatia. These 2 crews almost certainly destined for the B final, but I certainly wouldn't put any money on the contestants for the A final. Italy now still trying to hand off the sort of palm off Romania and Norway, who are neck and neck. And in fact, I think the Romanians now who sit at rate 40, such a characteristic move from them to be up at the high ratings, 750 metres out. They're starting to push through Norway to try and claim that A final spot, Richie.
Yeah, another very exciting repechage here with 2 crews to qualify and 3 crews contesting it again through the last 500. Just barely 7 metres separating 1, 2 and 3 between Norway, Romania and Italy. The Romanian crew still maintaining a stroke rate of 40 strokes per minute. Unbelievable to see them come down the course and hold us right the way through. And they are just about half a canvas behind the Italians at the moment. So at the moment, coming through 500, it's the Italians leading it out. Romania half a length behind. And then a little bit further back to the crew from Norway, who again doing their best to try push on here and challenge for the 2nd qualifying spot. Further back then to the crew from Lithuania and the crew from the Czech Republic, as Camilla was saying, destined for the B final setup there. But really nice rowing from the Italians here. A lot of experience. The 2 seats, Simone Venier, has replaced Luca Cimento due to medical reasons, so it doesn't seem to have affected the boat too much. And Pete coming into view, as we'd expect, the Italians leading this one out, but the high rating Romanians doing everything that they can to make sure that they guarantee that 2nd qualifying spot into the A final.
Well, I'll tell you what, Richie, they've gone early, haven't they? 44 strokes a minute now, the Romanians, and they've moved through Italy. They're nearly half a length up on Italy now, coming into the last 150. So an impressive performance from them. They've come back from 3rd at 500, 2nd at 1,500, and they now lead by a significant margin. So an impressive performance from the powerful Romanian combination.
Romuni prevzemajo pobudo v prvi repasažni skupini moških dvojnih četvercev in prevzemajo vodstvo. No, Italijani, aktualni evropski prvaki, se jim bodo, ko vse kaže, pridružili v velikem finalu in poskušali ponovno dokazati, da so med najboljšimi posadkami v tej kategoriji.
Romania by 3/4 of a length on Italy across the line. Those 2 both progressed to the A final, and then 3/4 of a length behind Italy we find Norway taking 3rd place. 2.5 or so lengths up over on the grandstand side of the course, the Lithuanian boat for 4th, and then 5th place Croatia. We'll see them go through to the B final.
Iz prve repasažne skupine, torej v veliki finale, v finale A, romata romunska in pa italijanska posadka.
We look now to the 2nd of the repechages for the men's quads. We've got Switzerland in lane 1, Poland in 2, Ukraine in lane 3 and Germany in lane 4.
Kateri 2 posadki se bosta pridružili, romunski in italijanski, iz repasažev v finalu A? Imamo 4 kandidatke, na progi 1 Švica, na progi 2 Poljska, na progi 3 Ukrajina in pa na progi 4 Nemčija.
coming up towards 800 metres. Poland out in front now. Camilla, I'm not too surprised to see them leading here.
Yeah, me neither. I think the Polish men's quad, a surprise to see them in the repechage perhaps, but not a surprise to see them leading out. The world champions from last year in Rachice have somehow managed to end up in this repechage, but they are taking their time with this. They look really relaxed and composed out in front, and perhaps trying to make us all question ourselves how they've ended up in this race for the A final. But top two to go through. They sit a length up on Ukraine currently, who sit in that second place by about half a length over Germany. Germany in this combination, Timola Naska, Max Appel, those two under 23 sensations and junior sensations that have stepped up through the ranks over the previous few years, and looking still within reach for them to take Ukraine. It's still only half a length separating them from second, and that's magical second place is what you need to get through to the A final. It's then Switzerland running in fourth, but not by much, still about a length back on that third place. And two birthday celebrations tomorrow across this field. Fabian Baranski in the stroke seat of the Polish men's crew leading will turn 24 years old tomorrow, so that will be a nice birthday present for him to make the A final. And then in the Swiss crew, we've got a birthday tomorrow. Jan Jona Plock will be turning 25 years old. So ones to watch out for tomorrow. But in the meanwhile, updating you just ahead of 600 metres to go. Still Poland, the world champions, leading out this repechage. Ukraine in second, trying to fight Germany for that second qualifying spot through to the A final. Richie.
Thanks, Camilla. Poland looking good here. They are coming up and rowing with style here, coming through 500 metres. The inform crew, as we were saying, the world champions from last year, second at the Europeans. So they have the form, and it looks like their winter training has carried over from the success of last year as they lead this one out in the second repechage, looking to advance on to the final along with Romania and Italy from the previous race. They just have a little bit of clear water between them and the Ukrainians. Ukrainian crew, of course, came second in World Cup 1 more recently, and they did beat that Swiss crew that are in fourth place at the moment. So again, going to form on the previous race that we had in Zagreb just a couple of weeks ago, with Ukraine leading ahead of the German crew. Lots of encouragement from the crews over at the enclosure side as we watched the second repechage of the men's quads just coming down into the finish now. Looking good for Poland here, and Pete, they are the informed crew. It'll be interesting to see how they fare up against the Romanians once we get into the A final, but looking good so far here for Poland and for Ukraine.
Yeah, Dominik Chaha, Matthias Biskup, Miroslav Zitarski and Fabian Barański of Poland out in front. World champions from last year. As Camilla said, a surprise to find them here in a repechage, but they might just be keeping their powder dry for the later rounds of competition. They've got a commanding lead at the front here. 36 strokes a minute, underrating the rest of the field by a couple of pips.
Ja, Poljaki so takole svojemu kolegu Fabianu Baranskemu z tole zmago v repasažu, ki zdaj le veslajo naproti, pripravili lepo predrojstnodnevno darilo svojemu članu, torej Fabianu Baranskemu, ki bo jutri dopolnil 24 let in zdaj le prihajajo kot prvi v cilj.
Ukraine coming under pressure from Germany into the last 50 metres, but I think they'll hold on to second place. That sees Poland cross the line 2 lengths up on Ukraine. That's the 1-2 going to the A final. 3/4 of a length down, then we find Germany in third. And then 3/4 of a length behind them, we have Switzerland, and we'll see Germany and Switzerland go through to the B final.
Poleg Poljakov bomo iz te repasažne skupine jutri v finalu videli tudi ukrajinsko posadko. In tako imamo zdaj vseh 6 čolnov, ki se bodo potegovali za medalje v tej kategoriji.
So we're going to move on from the repechages for the quads now to the one and only repechage for the women's 4. 6 boat lining up here for 4 places into the A final. France are in lane 1, Netherlands in 2, Denmark in lane 3, Ireland in 4, Poland in 5 and Spain in lane 6.
6 ženskih četvercev v repasažu. Na progi 1 Francija, na progi 2 Nizozemska, na progi 3 Danska, na progi 4 je Irska, na progi 5 Poljska in na progi 6 Španija.
Well, Camilla, they're coming up towards 800 metres in, 4 places out of 6 boats to go through to the A final. So it's one of the first races we're going to be looking at the back of the pack to see what the dividing line looks like.
That's a great point, Pete. The race that you want to ensure that you can see lots of people behind you and at the back of the pack at the moment, unfortunately, it looks like the outside lanes. So Spain and France currently riding in those 2 spots that would see them through to the B final. But focusing on our leaders, well, a great showing here from Denmark. Great to see them back performing on the women's 4 stage. They really had some great performances in the last Olympiad as part of the women's 4. They finished 7th at last year's World Championships, winning the B final, and they currently sit half a length up on the silver medalist from those same World Championships, the Netherlands. And what an impressive comeback here for the Netherlands' Marloes Oldenburg in the Bousie after a horrific bike accident that saw her taking a lot of time to recover, and to be back here performing in this women's 4, a huge testament to her. But those are the silver medalists from last year finding themselves in this year's repechage. Talking of silver medalists, Ireland, they run in 3rd. They got a silver at last year's European Championships in Munich. And this crew currently going toe-to-toe with the Dutch for 2nd behind Denmark. Poland then run in 4th position. They're just up by about 3/4 of a length on France and Spain respectively, and they'll want to stay there. That's a nice comfortable position for them as long as they can see those 2 crews. They know that they're set and destined to be in the A final. But the race up at the front of the field, still Denmark leading out over a fantastic battle between Ireland and the Dutch, Richie.
Yeah, this Danish crew, fastest out of these 6 boats in the heats where they didn't move on into the final. Again, just 1 crew advancing on. So the Danish crew, definitely the informed crew, fastest out of the 6 boats that are there. They were second out of 4 crews in their heat. Also in the heat were the Netherlands. So it's going to form here with the Danish crew leading it out. Ireland as well, they were second in their heat. So all of the action here in lanes 2, 3 and 4 between Denmark and either side of them, Netherlands and Ireland. Great position to be in for Denmark. They're going to be able to look left and right and see any of the challenges that come in from the crew from Netherlands and Ireland. But with 4 crews to qualify, it looks like they are in control here. So it is still the Danish crew just ahead now of the crew from Netherlands in 2nd place, the Irish crew. High rating Irish crew compared to the other competitors at this stage in the race, but they're doing enough here to stay ahead with a little bit of clear water to look at to secure that 3rd qualifying spot. And then it is between the crews from Poland and France and Spain for the last positions. And at the moment, it does look like the crew from Poland doing enough at the moment to get into the 4 qualifying spot. Just 4 out of the 6 crews advancing on to the A final later on this weekend. Really nice rowing here from the crew from Denmark. Fastest, as we were saying, Pete, out of the heat. So it looks like they're in full control here coming into the enclosure.
I tell you what, Richie, I think that Poland are in the danger zone now. Here come Spain, drawing up alongside them. Spain have gone early, 43 strokes a minute, led out by Olivia de Castillo, trying to draw level. And they are now level with Poland, who are only just reacting now, going to 40 strokes a minute. And I think Spain are through, so this could see them pinch that 4th and last spot through to the A final away from Poland.
4 mesta vodijo v finale A, tamle v zadju ogorčen dvoboj med Poljsko in pa Španijo, medtem ko prva 3 mesta bolj ali manj znana, med drugim Danke na 1. mestu in na ta način bodo naredile en korak naprej v primerjavi z lanskim svetovnim prvenstvom, kjer so bile 7, no zdaj pa se uvrščajo med najboljšo 6-terico.
So Denmark take the win ahead of the Netherlands and then Ireland. And let's see this split here between Spain and Poland. Spain hold on to 4th place and a progression through to the A final. They're chuffed to bits about that. They led Poland across the line by about 2/3 of a length. So Poland take 5th and then 6th place. France will see those 2 boats go to the B final.
Četverica, ki bo nastopila tudi iz tega repasaža v A-finalu, je torej znana. Danska, Nizozemska, Irska in pa Poljska posadka so se uvrstile.
Well, we're going to move on in quick order because we want to catch as much of this racing as we possibly can. It's the time now for the first repechage for the lightweight women's single sculls. We've got Elis Ozbey for Turkey in lane 1, Kristina Neuhotova for the Czech Republic in lane 2, Olivia Bates for Great Britain in lane 3, Aurélie Morizot for France in lane 4, and Dora Dragicevic for Croatia in lane 5.
Čas je za repasaže lahkih skifistk in tole je že prva repasažna skupina. Na progi 1 Turčija, na progi 2 Češka, na progi 3 Velika Britanija, proga 4 Francija in proga 5 Hrvaška.
Well, whilst there were plenty of places to go through to the A-final from the last race, we're back to that two-boat progression system. So just 2 from this race will go through to the A-final. So our eyes are going to be on the current leaders, Turkey, and then that dividing line between current second place, Great Britain, and third place, France. So they're coming up towards halfway. Let's see how this race unfolds with Camilla.
Thanks, Pete. Yeah, fast starting Elis Ozbey of Turkey under pressure from Liv Bates of Great Britain. These two also being watched closely by Aurélie Morizot of France. That's your leading 3 at the moment, barely separated by a length apiece. So Ozbey 1 length up on Bates, who in turn is about 3/4 of a length up on France, but France moving fast here. Morizot starting to climb back through. It's then Neuhotova of the Czech Republic that sits in 4th, and with the top 2 through to the A-final, she's got a lot of work to do if she's going to try and move with Morizot here, who's doing everything she can to ensure that that overlap does not slip away. But it's still Ozbey over on the far side for Turkey, but here comes Liv Bates in this third 500 metres. She's certainly being quite disciplined with her blade placement, quite direct. And the veterinary student from Nottingham University has sort of really taken this third 500 metre is in her stride. We saw a fast start from her yesterday against the Romanian Kosmiuk, but in the final 1,000 metres couldn't match her speed. Could we see a second half sprint here from the British athlete? Ozbey, though, still keeping tabs. It's hard when everyone sits to your left. Being in that centre lane, certainly an advantage to be able to see what's going on all around you. And with only 2 spots up for grabs, still Turkey and Great Britain. But France, as I say, a great push through the 1,000 for Aurélie Morizot to keep her in touch. And with these small boats, there's only 1 athlete in the boat. These lightweight single sculls, they make the decisions, they make the choices about what they do with their race plan. So just 1 bit of turn of speed, 1 decision to go can certainly make a big impact in these small boats. So Richie, as they come towards the final 600 metres, that tends to be where we start to see them setting up well for the sprint. Is there anything coming from Morizot of France to get into the top 2?
Yeah, if she's going to go, she's going to have to go now because they're going to run out of water coming down to the last quarter of the race here in the first repechage of the lightweight women's single sculls. Ozbey, our leader, came 5th out of the heat earlier on, so maybe her tactics were to get into the repechage and dominate she is. She's taking all her experience and success at the under-23 European and World Champion medals and transferring that into the senior race here. She is in lane 1 nearest to me, just coming through 500, leading it out, as we said, from Liv Bates, having a great race in 2nd place at the moment. The challenge, if it is to come, at the moment it looks like it's going to come from the Czech sculler, who is passing out the French sculler now. So maybe it is the Czech Republic coming in to challenge Liv Bates for that 2nd qualifying spot. It looks like the French sculler Morizot might have just done too much in the first half of the race, and just looking at her there, she doesn't look as striking high as the other competitors there leading it out. So I'm not sure if she can get back in touch to try challenge for the 2nd spot. But a really great last 200 metres there from Kristina Neuhotova from the Czech Republic to come up and challenge. And she's going to put increased pressure on Liv Bates coming in to the last 250. Looked like a job well done here from Elis Ozbey, Pete, but all to play for. Can Liv Bates hold on to the challenge that's coming from the Czech Republic?
I'm really impressed with Kristina Neuhotova's last sort of before 500 metres. She's been gradually chipping away at that lead. It's down to less than a length now. I think she's got contact with Liv Bates. The reaction from Liz Bates is starting to pump up that rating, but that's just almost encouraging the Czech athlete even further. She's gone up to 37.38. She's seen the red boys, and they're now drawing level. So this is going to come down to a real sprint finish between the British athlete Olivia Bates and the Czech athlete Kristina Neuhortova. And with that, they're reeling in the Turkish athlete at the front of the field.
Ja, še ena izjemna tekma, še en izjemen repasaž, 3 posadke v boju za 2 vstopnici v A-finale, v ospredju Turkinja in pa Velika Britanka, ampak Čehinja je izjemna.
Well, look at this. Neuhortova is in the lead now, rowing through the Turkish athlete. Neuhortova takes the win just under a length ahead of Ozbey of Turkey. Those two seal the 2 places into the A final. Olivia Bates for Great Britain will lead the way into the B final to be joined by Aurélie Morizot for France, crossing the line there for 4th place. And then coming in for 5th place, Dora Dragicevic of Croatia. We'll see them in the B final.
Ja, izjemna predstava Kristine Neuhortove, češke veslačice, lahke veslačice, ki je res v tem drugem delu prikazala neverjetno predstavo in si priborila tudi 1. mesto, na drugem pa potem turška predstavnica.
So the second repechage is already approaching halfway, so we're going to jump to it. Toot sweet. This is the second repechage for the lightweight women's singles. We've got Norway, Switzerland, Ireland, Poland and Hungary, and we'll jump straight to Camilla to tell us who's in the race.
Thanks, Pete. Well, leading the race, it's the Irish sculler who's burst back onto the scene after some time away. Siobhan McCrohan over a length up on Eline Roll of Switzerland. That's halfway done for these two in these qualifying positions. Closest to them, well, that's currently Jessica Sobocinska of Poland. And as we saw in that previous heat with Neuhortova of the Czech Republic, it really does come down to that final 500 meters. She's still very much still in position if that previous race was anything to go by, sitting in 3rd. Over on the tower side of the lake, well, it's Oda Argson of Norway in 4th position, and just out of the running, Ferovani Esther of Hungary, just head down, plugging away here at the back of the field, but somewhat 5 lengths off the leading scullers. Siobhan McCrohan, though, what a comeback this has been for her. And I'm going to leave my Irish commentator, Richie, at the 500 metres to talk a little bit more about her in just a moment. But Eline Roll, just trying to make sure that she's comfortable enough in that 2nd spot. She doesn't want to put herself in the hot seat like we saw in the previous heat. So at the moment, as it stands, joining Czech Republic and Turkey into the A final of this lightweight women's single sculls, it looks to be Ireland and Switzerland, but any changes with you down at 500, Richie?
Not so far. It's staying with the last 200 metres. It looks like that form is continuing here. Great to see Siobhan McCrohan back racing. Her last international racing back in 2016. She's a rower with Tribesman Rowing Club in Galway City. Studied for a number of years in the University of Limerick, aeronautical engineering, including studying for a master's as well. So a real joy to see her back racing for the first time here. She came 2nd in her heat in yesterday's race, and she is the fastest out of the qualifiers that we have here. So she's going with form, leading this one out. Just a little bit of clear water between her and Eline Roll, the Swiss sculler, in 2nd place at the moment. They're the 1 and 2 looking to move on to the final, along with the Czech Republic and Turkey that we saw in the previous race. Really great finish there from the Czech Republic sculler to come back and take the win there. These two ahead now of the scullers then from Poland in 3rd place, Norway in 4th, and then some way back to the Hungarian sculler in 5th. So not quite as tight as it was in the previous repechage in the lightweight Wimbledon single sculls coming in towards the finish. But great to see Siobhan McCrohan back racing here for racing since 2016, back now under the wing of Dominic Casey, the women's sculling coach for Ireland, and looking to take the win here. Going with her then Eline Roll of Switzerland. They're the 1 and 2, Pete, looking to guarantee their spots in the A final.
Yeah, the field's so spread out now in this big chevron making its way into the red boys here. McCrohan looking comfortable out in front. Coached by Dominic Casey, she's strode down to 28, 29 strokes a minute, but still maintaining great boat speed. So I don't think much is going to change here. We see Sobocinska of Poland going up 34, 35 strokes a minute. She's got the best boat speed on the water as it stands, but perhaps too much of a margin to close in on with just 150 meters left.
Kakšen povratek McCrohanove irske veslačice, ki prihaja kot prva v cilj v tem repasažu. Druga vstopnica pa se obeta Švicarki.
Cowbells are going for Eileen Roll to try and encourage her to hold on to that second place. She looks like she'll do so comfortably into this last 50. Margins look like they'll remain unchanged as we come up towards the line. Siobhan McCrohan for Ireland will take the win and lead the way into the A final. She's nearly a full length and a half up on Eileen Roll across the line for Switzerland. So those two go to the A final, and that means Jessica Sobocinska for Poland will lead the way into the B final to be joined by Oda Egerson of Norway crossing the line for fourth. And then fifth, we have Esther Fehevari for Hungary also going to the B final.
To je bil torej repasažni, še drugi repasažni nastop lahkih ženskih enojcev. Zdaj pa smo pri moških in dragi slovenski navijači, zdaj je čas, da dvignete zastave, da prestavite v višjo prestavo, kar se navijanja tiče, kajti v tej repasažni prvi skupini bo nastopil tudi slovenski adut Rajko Hrvat.
Well, they're already through the 1,000, and the locals will be delighted to see Rajko Hrvat out in front by a significant margin, the Slovenian leading the way at the moment. So we're going to jump straight to Camilla to tell us how the rest of the field's panning out for that second place into the A final.
Yeah, Hrvat just showing off in front of the home crowd here in Slovenia. Pete looking to sort of return home to where he won his first ever World Cup medal in 2015 here on home water. But like you say, the second spot here to go through to the A final is so tight. Pretty breathtaking here between Poland, Denmark and Norway. It's bow ball for bow ball. If anything, I think perhaps just it's Denmark's Rasmus Lind that sits in second place at the moment, but really tight with Łukasz Sawicki of Poland, Oscar Sadel for Norway on the far side. And if it stays like this, Richie, we're in for an absolute barnstormer.
Yeah, they're just coming down now to about 700 to go, and great to see the local rower Hrvat leading this one out. And he is the fastest sculler in the race from the heats, came second in his heat, so definitely is going with form here. And I'm going to pass on to Natasha, our local commentator, to give the crowd here. Hopefully we'll give him even more of a lift coming in with 500 to go. Hrvat leading it out, followed by Denmark and Norway with two crews to qualify. Looking good for the local sculler.
Thank you, Richie. Tako je, zdaj pa zares slovenski navijači. Spodbuda za Rajka Hrvata, dobro mu gre, trenutno vodilni v tej repasažni skupini in na dobri poti, da se uvrsti med najboljšo šesterico in potem tudi v boje za medalje. Kako bo napeto in seveda vsi se bomo lahko veselili nastopa Rajka Hrvata v velikem finalu. Dobro mu kaže, ima kar lepo prednost pred najbližjim zasledovalcem Dancem in pa na tretjem mestu trenutno Poljak, torej Rajko Hrvat drvi proti finalu A in seveda proti bojem za medalje. Že v Zagrebu je dokazal, da je dobro treniral skupaj s svojim trenerjem Anžetom Blažičem preko zime in upajmo, da se izide tudi na domačem evropskem prvenstvu. Kako lepo bi bilo, da bi slovenski predstavnik osvojil tudi odličje tukaj na domačem terenu. Zastave vihrajo slovenske, tako je prav, in na teh krilih seveda navijaškega vzdušja prihaja tudi Rajko Hrvat na čelu te repasažne skupine proti cilju. Dajmo, Rajko, še zadnjih nekaj metrov bo treba stisniti za to, da prideš med najboljših 6 v boje za medalje. In Rajko ima res lepo prednost. Mislim, da ni nobenega dvoma, da bo eden od tistih srečnežev, ki bodo pobrali vstopnico v veliki finale danski slovenski veslači je kar precej zadaj, ampak očitno tudi on v veliki finale, torej brez kakšnih pretresov. Rajko Hrvat suvereno proti cilju, proti seveda nastopu v velikem finalu. Dajmo Rajko, še nekaj metrov do cilja. Kje ste navijači? Zdaj pa res na polno.
Amazing stuff to see Rajko Hrvat, the local favourite for Slovenia, leading this repechage and confident for a place into the A final, trailing just ever so slightly behind him. 2 lengths down, we find Rasmus Lind for Denmark, who will take the 2nd place into the A final. And then in 3rd place, Lukas Savicki for Poland leads the way into the B final to be joined by Oskar Söderdahl for Norway, crossing the line in 4th, a length ahead of Eduardo Sousa of Portugal in 5th.
Rajko Hrvat torej v velikem finalu v nedeljo ob 10:51 bomo še bolj navijali za slovenskega lahkega veslača, da se prebije tudi na oder za zmagovalce. Je tako, navijači?
Well, that was the first of the 2 repechages. The second one's already well underway. We've got Galambos Peter for Hungary in lane 1. Birthday boy Andriy Struzhina for Switzerland is currently leading, and he's in lane 2. Arno Gauss for Germany is in lane 3, and Zia Mamadzada for Azerbaijan is in lane 4. Right, well, Camilla, birthday boy Struzhina for Switzerland leading the way.
Yeah, Struzhina leading the way here for Switzerland. And what a great birthday present. We've already said it would be to make the European Championship final here. I'm sure the cowbells will be going as well, but he's got so much space here to play with. You could slot another single scull between his stern and the bow of Galambos Peter for Hungary, the 2-time World Championship silver medalist in the lightweight men's single scull. Sits half a length up on Germany's Arno Gauss. It's then just the Azerbaijan sculler Zaya Mamadzada in lane number 4. Again, somewhat off the pace, about 100 metres back on this leading trio. But Struzhina looks amazing here out in front. A brilliant performance from him. He picked up a silver medal in Zagreb at the mercy of the local home favourite, Rajko Hrvat. And he'll be even more up against it this weekend if he does indeed proceed into the A final. But Galambos Peter here under some pressure. They call him Little Pigeon is his nickname. Galamb is really fighting here against the German to try and hold on to that 2nd spot through. He's up at 38 strokes a minute. He's somewhat overrating Gauss, who's down at 35 strokes a minute for equivalent boat speed. So that must be taking its toll through this very painful part of the race, the 3rd 500 metres. I can hear tons of support coming from the bank, a really big shout. I'm not sure who that's for, perhaps for birthday boy Andrei Struzhina as they move into the final 600 metres, Richie.
Yeah, great display of sculling here from the Swiss sculler leading this one out. 2nd in his heat earlier on and having to go through the repechage here, but no doubt about getting into that 1st qualifying spot. Maybe they told him they were lighting his birthday candles at the start of the race, and that's why he's in such a hurry to get through here. Rowing very nicely coming through 500. He's got clear water, but he's still maintaining quite a high rate for sculler, 35 strokes per minute coming through there. But it's all to play for then for that 2nd qualifying spot between the Hungarian sculler and the German sculler as well, matching each other stroke for stroke. The German sculler 36 strokes per minute, matching the Hungarian scout Galambos Peter at the moment, and very little between the two as they come down to the wire for this. Again, it's 1 qualifying spot between Hungary and Germany at the moment to move on to the final, along with Slovenia and Denmark from the previous race. So it looks like Struzhina in control here for Switzerland. Dominated from start. Really nice rowing. Camilla was saying he was in full control of the race from start down to the finish here. But it's all between Germany and Hungary right now to see who's going to get that qualifying spot. It looks like the German sculler taking the rate up to 38 strokes per minute. He's going for the line now, going early and coming in towards the finish, Pete. It's all going to play for the 2nd place. But to me, it looks like the German sculler just doing enough.
Yeah, what a race from him. Arno Gauss coming back from 3rd through the middle 1,000. He's clearly left enough in the tank for this finishing sprint. He's absolutely gunning it. 39 strokes a minute, coached by Tim Schoenberg. This is an impressive final couple of 100 metres from him. He could even draw up on Struzhina into this last 150.
Ja, sicer ne tako suvereno kot Rajko Hrvat pred njim, ampak Andri Struzina si vesla, zdajle si bo verjetno priveslal najlepše darilo za svoj današnji rojstni dan. Vse najboljše, Andri, in pa upajmo seveda, da si priveslaš tole vstopnico v veliki finale. Vse pa kaže, da bo šla druga vstopnica v Nemčijo.
Well, Andrew Struzina just holding on to the lead. It is his birthday after all, so I think he probably deserves the win just on that fact. But he's holding a length up on the fast sprinting Arno Gauss of Germany. These two take those places into the A final. And I think Galambos Peter of Hungary has accepted his fate after that fast-moving German rode through him in the last couple of hundred meters. So Galambos Peter for Hungary will lead the way into the B final and be joined by Zia Mamadzada of Azerbaijan.
Vse najboljše, torej Andri Struzina, in pa happy birthday so to Andri. Lepo darilo si je torej priveslal Švicar za svoj rojstni dan. Družbo v velikem finalu pa mu bo iz te repasažne skupine delal še Arno Gauss.
Well, folks, we're really into our schedule of racing now. We're halfway through this morning's block of racing, and we've got a short 10-minute intermission now, so we'll be back with you at 10:20 for the first repechage of the men's 4.
Zdajle nas čaka manjši odmor, toliko, da zadihamo, da se pripravimo na nove nastope v današnjem dopoldanskem sporedu, lahko rečemo repasažnem delu letošnjega evropskega prvenstva tukaj na našem čudovitem Bledu. Nadaljevali bomo z moškimi četverci. Tako da privoščite si kakšno osvežitev, morda kakšen prigrizek, da boste zdržali tole navijaško vzdušje tudi naprej.
Next race on the course, it's the first repechage of the men's 4. Lane 1, we have Poland's Lukas Podziłajka, Mateusz Wilangowski, Mikołaj Burda and Emilian Jakowiak. Lane 2 for France, Thibaut Turlan, Guillaume Turlan, Benoit Brunet and Teo Rayet. Lane 3 for Italy, Paolo Covini, Emanuele Gaetano Liscio, Salvatore Monfricola and Nunzio Di Colandrea. Lane 4 for Germany, Thijs Hagemeister, Malte Grossmann, Mark Hinrichs and Sönke Kruse. And in lane 5 for Austria, Harold Stenninger, Jakob Stadler, Hava Haider and Mikhail Karlovsky. There we have it. We're underway with the first repechage for the men's 4. Poland, France, Italy, Germany and Austria. They're only a few meters in, so tough to choose the early leaders. But if I was to say it was anybody, it'd be Poland and Italy trading places stroke for stroke for the front. Italy's still up there at 47 strokes a minute. They went up over 50 through the first 100 meters, and it hasn't quite earned them the lead because the fast-moving Polish combination, now stroked by Emilian Jakowiak, are out in front by perhaps a canvas or more. Austria trying to go with them too, so we'll see how this pans out. It's like the previous races, the first 2 to go through to the A final.
Ja, začenjamo torej oziroma nadaljujemo z današnjim dopoldanskim sporedom, repasažnim sporedom in moškimi četverci. Na progi 1 je Poljska, na progi 2 Francija, na progi 3 Italija, na progi 4 Nemčija, na progi Avstrija. Začetek najboljši za poljsko posadko.
400 meters in now. Poland starting to really establish their lead. They're perhaps 2/3 of a length up on France, who are now holding on to that second place. Not much to split 3rd, 4th and 5th between Austria, Italy and Germany as we come through 500. We'll see what the timing splits give us, but Poland establishing themselves at the front there at 39 strokes a minute. That's Jakowiak, Burda, Wilangowski and Podziłajka. An impressive Polish combination. They've been training and rowing together for some time, so quite an established boat, and we'd certainly expect them to be in the running for a place through to the A final. Going with them, though, France are trying to close in that margin. They're matching the Polish for boat speed. Let's see how this pans out then as they come up towards halfway. I think, Camilla, we may see Poland and France run away with it from here.
Yeah, to have this margin in such a short amount of time in the big boats, I suspect that will be the story of the race. But you never know, stranger things have happened. But indeed, it's been a great start there for Poland, and I'm sure France relishing the opportunity to go with the leaders from the lane next door. It's left the other crews scrabbling around to find an answer. Italy, Germany and Austria in that order. Still very tight for them, about 3/4 of a length back on the leading 2 crews. So it's still not without the realms of possibility for them to find something in this second half of the race and move back. But Poland look great out in front here. Jakowiak, the young 23-year-old in the stroke seat, leading them out. They've just managed to get 3/4 of a length over France now, who have broken clear water ahead of Italy. Italy, a short look there for Paolo Cavini in the bow seat to see that 1,000-metre timing mark, and perhaps to call for something slightly different to happen here as Germany start to move back now, dropping Austria in the process. The German crew, T.S. Hagemeister in the bow seat, was rowing for the Dutch team for the under-23s last year, but has changed allegiances and now finds himself in the German men's four here, but currently sitting in a B final qualifying spot along with Austria and Italy, who sit slightly ahead. France, if they can continue this clear water gap into the third quarter of this race, seem to be continuing to make progress and therefore finding themselves safer and safer in that A final spot behind a fast-moving Poland. As Pete's already mentioned, tons of experience in this crew, a world champion nonetheless in this boat class, and they're powering now towards Ritchie at 500 metres to go.
Yeah, Camilla, just coming up to me here now, and it's all the crews going across lanes 1 to 5 are the positions as well, lanes 1 to 5. But the French crew, really nice squeeze from them over the last couple of 100 metres to come back and maybe take the lead here, coming through with 500 to go ahead of the Poles, who had led for the first half of the race. So just coming through, and I think it is the French crew just really putting it up to the Poles here. The Polish crew responding, coming through 500, and both of these crews opening up clear water then ahead of the crew from Italy back in third. The Germans right beside them, so Italy and Germany neck and neck. The only crew a little bit off the pace then is the crew from Austria. Lots of encouragement again from some of the scullers that are here at the enclosure to cheer on their countrymates as they come into the last few hundred metres. It looks like the two leading crews there of Poland and France pushing each other on. They look good to secure the qualifying spots in the first repechage of the men's four, looking to move on to the A final. And the Italians and Germans pushing each other on here. But I think, Pete, even that race for third and fourth is not going to be enough to get them back in touch with the Poles and with the French.
Yeah, the margin's just too big at this stage. France, though, they've had a great race here, moving up through Poland, 40 strokes a minute. They've got the best boat speed by quite a margin out at the front of the field. I can't see Poland closing them back in, and nor would they necessarily need to at this stage, because they're both in A final qualification positions, and they've got a clear water gap back to Germany and Italy, who are pretty level pegged here. So we'll see how this little sprint for the finish pans out for third.
Po obetavnem začetku Poljakov so zdaj le pobudo prevzeli Francozi, ki v tem zadnjem delu pospešujejo in bodo se uvrstili v veliki finale. Prav tako Poljaki, nobenih dvomov ni o teh dveh reprezentancah.
France take the win. Poland a length behind them for second. Those two going through to the A final. I saw that as Germany a centimetre or two ahead of Italy for third and fourth. And then fifth place we have Austria. Those three boats going to the B final. Well, the second repechage is underway for the men's four. We've got Switzerland in lane 1, the Netherlands in 2, Ireland in 3 and Ukraine in lane 4.
Poglejmo, katere posadke so kandidatke za dve mesti, za še preostali dve mesti v velikem finalu iz teh repasažev. V drugi repasažni skupini so na progi 1 Švica, na progi 2 Nizozemska, na progi 3 Irska in pa na progi 4 Ukrajina.
Well, they're coming up through 750, so we'll jump straight to Camilla. Camilla, it looks like the Netherlands could be running away with this. They're a length up already.
Yeah, the Netherlands contender in this repechage that I wasn't expecting to see. They're often got lots of pedigree in this boat type. Mollet, Ritzemer, Molinar and Van Dorn here. Up at 40 strokes a minute still into the second quarter of the race. This is a new combination that's been brought together here for this season and currently leading out by over a length ahead. They've got clear water ahead of Switzerland, who I'm sure the cowbells will be ringing for at the end of this race in that final 500 metres to give them that boost to try and find their way into the A final. 2 spots through to the A final, and Ireland currently having to climb a mountain to bridge the gap between themselves and Switzerland, and also focus on staying ahead of Ukraine, who are chasing them in fourth. But a really big push there for Switzerland, opened out a canvas of clear water back to Ireland, but they're going to have to keep moving with this Dutch crew if they want to stay in contention. Important to get a good placing here at the European Championships. The men's four, a boat class that certainly all eyes on Olympic qualification this year for Paris. So great to see both the Dutch and the Swiss here moving into places that if they translate later on this season could end up in Paris next year. But all eyes will be on the World Championships in Belgrade later on in September. But the Dutch and the Swiss, clear water over Ireland and Ukraine. And it seems to me like our two A final places are going to be determined fairly neatly here, Richie.
Yeah, it looks like the two spots there, Switzerland, Netherlands, the Dutch crew, the fastest out of the heats earlier on. They were second in their heat, and they're going with form here, coming up to 500 to go. The Swiss as well in second place. The Irish crew, a new quartet here, Fionnan McQuillan-Tolan, great to see him here rowing for Ireland, back into the high performance setup for Ireland. He was over in the University of Boston for a number of years, back now and part of this Irish crew. They'll be doing their best to try get back, but coming through 500, there's an awful lot to do. This Dutch crew are leading out by clear water ahead of the Swiss. Really, they're in a league of their own, these two crews, and looks safe to qualify for the final. The Irish just holding off the challenge of Ukraine at the moment on the bandstand side, and very little between the two of them. The Irish just leading out by half a length, but they're going to run out of water here. They're not going to be able to get back and get into contention with the Dutch and the Swiss crews, who are looking to qualify along with Poland and France into the A final of the men's four. Really great display of rowing here, Pete, from the Dutch crew, and you can see why they were fastest out of the heats. They're in control coming in towards the finish.
You're right, Richie. I mean, it's unbelievable scenes here in this picturesque backdrop of the island in Lake Bled. I really wouldn't want to call that a final when it comes about later this weekend, but it's all to play for here. This race really has been all about the Netherlands, who have a clear water lead at the front. They'll be thinking about that Olympic qualification later in the season, as we've heard already. I mean, of course, it's great to see Ukraine here, but Switzerland will be needing the support of those cowbells as they ring out now from the grandstand. We'll need to think about who our money's going to be on when it comes to that A final. You really could throw a blanket over the trailing Ireland and Ukraine boats here. Not much separating them, but they'll be going through to the B final from the positions they're currently in at the moment. A final will be all about the Netherlands and Switzerland.
Ja, nobenih dvomov ni o tem, kateri dve posadki se bosta uvrstili v velike finale iz druge repasažne skupine. Nizozemska kot prva in pa potem še švicarska posadka, torej suvereno do vstopnic za veliki finale.
Well, what a great performance from Gauss Molle, Nelson Ritsema, Olav Molinar and Gert-Jan van Doorn of the Netherlands, leading the way into the A final, joined by Switzerland's Dominic Kondrau, Joel Schurch, Kai Schatzler and Patrick Brunner. Those two go to the A final. We'll see Ireland and Ukraine in the B final. Next race on the course then is the first repechage for the women's pair. We've got Josephine Cornu-Donjou and Pauline Rossignol for France in lane 1, Emily Ford and Esme Booth for Great Britain in lane 2, Ivana and Josipa Jurkovic, twins from Croatia, in lane 3, Imogen Magner and Natalie Long for Ireland in 4, and Anna Potruska and Barbara Jehorek for Poland in lane 5.
Ja, počasi se pripravljamo tudi na drugi repasažni slovenski nastop. Ob 10:40 bosta nastopila Jaka Čas in pa Nik Krebs, ampak še prej pa ženske v dvojcih, in tole je prva repasažna skupina. Proga 1 Francija, proga 2 Velika Britanija, proga 3 Hrvaška, proga 4 Irska in proga 5 Poljska.
Going through 800 meters in then, the Croatian twins, Ivana and Josipa Jurkovic out in front, perhaps half a length up on M. Ford and Esme Booth of Great Britain. That's the 1-2. Question's going to be whether Ireland, currently riding in third, can close that gap down as they go through halfway and into sight of Camilla Hadland-Horrocks.
Yeah, that is a good question indeed, Pete. Ireland, this combination that changed so late in the day ahead of this European Championships, to see Magna racing with Long here, currently just off that top 2 placing to go through to the A final, perhaps a length and a quarter to get them into the lead. But our leading duo, it's Croatia, the Jurkovic sisters, as you've mentioned, half a length up on Booth and Ford of Great Britain. Booth and Ford, remember, have already raced this morning in the preliminary race of the women's 8. So this is the second time down this 2,000 metre course this morning. So certainly we'll be starting to feel the pinch in the lungs and the legs as we move into the second 1,000 metres. But they do sit in that crucial A final qualification spot. But Ireland, again, I'll say it once more, in the small boats, anything can happen. The change of speed, the turn of speed happens so quickly, and Ireland are breathing down the necks of Great Britain. They're just one length back, and as we start to shift towards the island, towards that beautiful scenery, towards the finish line, Ireland up at 36 strokes a minute, overrating Great Britain by 1 pip, and trying to close in. But Great Britain looking long and loose here behind Croatia. They're happy to sit there and let the Jurkovics do the work at the front of the field. All importantly, just lining themselves up, saving some energy for any potential further races in the A finals this weekend. But they'll have to keep their wits about them. But moving through towards Richie, it's Croatia leading the way ahead of Great Britain, and then Ireland sat in third position ahead of France and Poland.
Thanks, Camilla. Another really exciting race here. We've seen with the double sculls as well earlier on this morning. Really close racing between them, and the women's pairs race giving us a tight race here as well, coming in with 500 to go. The Jurkovic sisters from Croatia, Ivana and Josipa. Jovana in the bow seat, Josipa in the stroke seat. Dominating the race here, the 23-year-olds. Good form from last year. 6th in the World Championships, 5th in the Europeans, as well as medaling at the under-23s. They're looking to transfer that success into senior rowing here. They've just got about a 3/4 length lead over the crew from GB, and as Camilla was saying, already raced in the 8th this morning, so nicely warmed up for the GB crew of Emily Ford and Esme Booth, leading in 2nd place at the moment. The Irish crew, a new combination here. Imogen Magner, great to see her here back into the high performance setup in Ireland, in the bow seat for the Irish crew. She was rowing for the last number of years with Leander. Success at the Henley Regatta as well. Natalie Long in the stroke seat. Natalie saying that she's swapped from sculling to sweep over the last season or so. So a lot of disruption for her, but she's able to adapt quite well to both sets of boats. And we're just waiting to see if they can mount a challenge here against the crew from GB to try get that 2nd qualifying spot. Croatia in control here coming into view, Pete. No doubt about the leaders, and if anything, the GB crew might come back and challenge Croatia for the lead, and hopefully Ireland maybe might mount a challenge for the 2nd qualifying spot, but looks like they're going to run out of water.
Yeah, it's going to be tricky for Ireland to get back into this now. There's less than a length, though. They've got overlap with Great Britain. We might see them put in a significant push towards the line here. All these 3 leading boats up at 40 strokes a minute, so they're right into this finishing sprint. It's going to come down to who can turn that into the best boat speed, which is currently Great Britain, just 0.1 of a metre per second faster than the others as they go up another few pips. Esme Booth takes them to 44.
Dvojčici Jurkovič na čelu tele repasažne skupine, v ozadju pa dvoboj za drugo vstopnico med Veliko Britanijo in pa Irsko.
Here we go, last few strokes. The Jurkovic sisters are going to take the win in that first place into the A final. I think Great Britain have done just enough. They have. We come up towards the line. Croatia, Great Britain, the first 2 to go through to the A final. An amazing push from Ireland's Imogen Magner and Natalie Long to try and close it down, but they take 3rd place ahead of 4th France, and then coming in for 5th place Poland. We'll see Ireland, France and Poland go to the B final. So that was repechage 1 for the women's pair. We're going to have a look at repechage 2 now. We've got Italy in lane 1. That's Giorgia Pelacci and Veronica Bumbaca. And then Spain in 2. Ina Sid and Esther Briz-Zamorano. Lena Sarasa and Hanna Rafe for Germany in lane 3. And Radka Novotnikova and Pavlina Flamikova for the Czech Republic in lane 4.
Še druga repasažna skupina, še drugi repasaž ženskih dvojcev in četverica kandidatk za še preostali 2 vstopnici v finale A. Ostale bodo seveda nastopile v finalu B. Italija na progi 1, na progi 2 Španija, na progi 3 Nemčija, na progi 4 pa Češka.
Well, they're passing you, Camilla. This looks like Zagreb's gold medalists out in front.
It is indeed. It's still all about the Spanish here out in front, and Ina Sid and Esther Briz-Zamorano are commanding this field by clear water ahead of Novotnikova and Flamikova of the Czech Republic. They are in a much tighter race though for second than the Spanish as they face Germany just to their right, who still hold half a length just behind them. The Italians as well out on the far side of the field, a little bit out of the action between Germany and the Czech Republic, but still close enough to make an impact in this final 750 should they wish to. But great to see Ina Sid and Esther Briz-Zamorano back to form. Ina Sid recovering from surgery in 2021, now back up to the peak of performance here at this European Championships. And Esther Briz-Zamorano, having graduated from US College last year from Stanford. Great to see them returning to this combination and it making a pretty good duo as they are quite considerably out in the lead of this second repechage of the women's pairs. But the second placing, well, I wouldn't like to call it between Germany, the Czech Republic and Italy. It's all still too tight to call. It was the Czech Republic running in second, but perhaps now Germany just starting to make a bit of a push, Richie.
Spot between Italy, Germany and the Czech Republic. So Spain in control here, coming through 500, still rating quite high, up at 38 strokes per minute and maintaining that for the majority of the race here. They're coming through the 500 meter mark, leading it out. But as I was saying, it's all about the race for second here and who's going to get that second qualifying spot. Coming through on the enclosure side, the Czech Republic crew at the moment, third in World Cup 1 most recently. So they've got a medal under their belt from earlier on this season. They are in second place at the moment, looking good to secure the spot ahead of Germany. They've got about 3/4 of a length, opening up now to 1 length. So if the German crew are going to go and challenge, they need to go now into the last 400 meters. The Italian crew just some way back in 4th place at the moment. So Spain looking good here. It's all going to come down to can Novotnikova and Flamikova hold off the challenge of Sarasa and Reef of Germany coming in towards the enclosure, looking to qualify along with Croatia and GB from the first repechage that we had. And Pete, coming into view now, Spain in full control here. Who's your money on for the second qualifying spot?
Yeah, good question, Richie. It's going to be a close one. Can Novotnikova and Flamikova hold on from this push that we're seeing from Reif and Sarasa of Germany? They've gone to 43. The first ones to really throw down the gauntlet now, coming to the last 250, and that sees them draw level with the Czech Republic. So the race really is on now for that second place into the A final.
Španska posadka, torej zmagovalka svetovnega pokala v Zagrebu, prihaja kot prva proti cilju v repasažu 2 ženskih dvojcev. Najbližja zasledovalka Nemčija.
Well, Germany have absolutely motored past the Czech Republic in that last 100 meters. They've got 3/4 of a length or so coming into the last 30 meters of this 2,000 meter race. Spain are good for the win, though. Ina Sid and Esther Briz-Zamorano, they secure their first place into the A final, 2 lengths ahead of Germany for second and then a length up on the Czech Republic for third. We've then got perhaps 3 lengths of clear water back to Italy for fourth. So we'll see the Czech Republic and Italy go to the B final.
Slovensko občinstvo pa bo zdajle usmerilo pozornost v prvi repasaž moških dvojcev. In na progi 1 bosta nastopila slovenska aduta Jaka Čas in pa Nik Krebs.
We just heard there from Natasha. That means that there's a Slovenian boat in the next race. So I'm sure the locals here are going to be delighted to see this race pan out. The first repechage for the men's pair. We've got Jakachas and Nick Krebs for Slovenia in lane 1. Dovydas and Domantas Stankunas, twins from Lithuania in lane 2. Abi Virsma and Guillaume Kromenhoek for the Netherlands in 3. Patrick and Anton Lonkaric for Croatia in lane 4. Vaclav Baldrian and Lukas Helisic for the Czech Republic in lane 5. And Dimitrios Bukuvalas and Zisis Bukuvalas for Greece in lane 6. Now they're just passing Camilla. So Camilla, what's the state of play at the moment?
Well, it's a very tight race between Lithuania and the Netherlands in this first we've seen of the men's pairs repechages. It's almost been a sort of creeping style from the Dutch here. Kromenhoek and Virsma have just been sort of steadily grinding through the Lithuanians, who had a great start, but still Lithuania are holding on. It's been, in fact, actually the Dutch that have hit both timing markers in front, but certainly to me it looks like Lithuania not really moving anywhere. These two just tied really in a bit of deadlock at the front of the field, and with only 3 spots through to the AB semi-finals, we look back to that all-important hot seat in third, and it's the Loncariches of Croatia that hold that at the moment. They've ticked off their most challenging race of the season, which was the Home World Cup in Zagreb, and now they face their next challenge here at the European Championships, which is going to be holding Greece at bay. The Greek brothers here, the Bukuvalases, are really trying to challenge for those AB semi-final places, but the Loncariches are still in control in third. But what a great race here up at the front of the field between the Stankunases and Virsma and Kromenhoek of Lithuania and the Netherlands, respectively. Richie, can you give us an update at 500?
Yeah, coming through 500, it's a family affair for this race. We have 2 sets of twins and another set of brothers as well racing out of the 6 boats that are here. The Dutch very much in control coming through. They've got about a 3/4 length lead over the Lithuanians in second place, the Stankunas twins, and then a little bit of clear water back at the moment to the Lonkaric twins in 4th place, who in turn are just ahead then of the crew from Slovenia, Kass and Krebs, battling there to try get that 3rd qualifying spot coming into semi-final B. Then it is the Greek crew and back to the crew from the Czech Republic for 5th and 6th. No doubt about the leaders here, the Weismera and Kromenhoek from the Netherlands leading it out in 1st place at the moment. Lithuanians looking good here now to get that 2nd qualifying spot, and the other set of twins, Lonkariches. Let's see if Slovenia, Natasha, do you think they'll have anything to come back into contention for the 3rd qualifying spot?
Well, hopefully. Takole, dragi navijači, spodbujajte torej Jako Časa in pa Nika Krebsa, ki se borita za 3. mesto, ki še vodi v polfinale. Zdaj je pomembno res, da jim damo zagona za te zadnje metre, da prehitijo morda hrvaško posadko, ki se trenutno drži na 3. mestu, sicer pa v ospredju posadka Nizozemske in pa Litve. No, sicer ta naš mariborski dvojec pod taktirko Dušana Juršeta že ima v žepu odličje z evropskih prvenstev, sicer na Evropskem prvenstvu do 23 let iz Duisburga 2020. Bronasto medaljo sta takrat osvojila Jaka in pa Nik. In dajmo zdajle še zadnji metri do cilja. Ali se bo išlo? Nažalost, niti ne.
So there we have it across the line. The Netherlands take the win, and then we've got Lithuania and Croatia. That's the 3 boats going through to the AB semi-final. Sadly, just missing out the local favourites, Jakachas and Nick Krebs. They will lead the way into the C-final to be joined then by Greece coming in for 5th, and the Czech Republic for 6th. A great tight race towards the line there, and just to confirm those positions, the Netherlands took 1st, Lithuania 2nd, and Croatia 3rd. They go through to the A final, Slovenia, Greece, and the Czech Republic to the C final.
Ja, nažalost je zmanjkalo moči za te zadnje metre, da bi morda se prebila Jaka Čas in pa Nik Krebs tudi v polfinale. Na koncu jima je ostal nastop v finalu C, ampak bomo tudi tam držali pesti, da se čim bolje uvrstita. Torej veslača sicer kluba Mariborske Dravske elektrarne, pa tudi slovenska reprezentanta, sicer pa v polfinalu posadke Nizozemske, Litve in pa Hrvaške.
Second repechage is already fast approaching halfway. We have Moldova's Alexander Bulat and Alexandra Maznic in lane 1. Yannick Metzger and Julius Christ for Germany in lane 2. David Comini and Giovanni Codato for Italy in lane 3. Victor Chabel and Michal Szpakowski for Poland in 4. Juhas Adrian and Simon Bella for Hungary in 5, and Florian Ludwig and Armand Pfister for France in lane 6. First 3 to go through to the AB semi-final. Let's catch up with Camilla to find out who those are likely to be.
Thanks, Pete. Likely candidates at the moment looking to be Italy's Comini and Codato from lane number 3, but by no means a safe margin for them through halfway. It's Poland that sit in second, a new combination for Michal Szpakowski with new partner Victor Chabel in the bow seat. There seems to be a good pairing though, and certainly to be keeping pace with the Italians up here at the front of the field will be giving them great confidence that they'll claim one of those 3 spots through to the AB semi-final. The third place and that final space through to the A final, much harder to call here between the French pairing of Florian Ludwig and Armand Pfister, and over on the far side, the Moldovans also well in this race for third. Bulat and Masnic, and they'll be it's almost the worst possible place to be on either side of the lake. Moldova in lane 1, France all the way over in lane 6, and trying to race one another for that final spot through to the AB semi-finals. It's so difficult to be separated by that much. So we'll keep tabs on that race as it runs through this next quarter, but almost 2 separate races going on here, one for the win between Italy and Poland, and one for that 3rd spot through between France and Moldova. At the back of the field, completing Hungary and Germany in their own race for 5th and 6th. So it's very much the story of 3 races here, Richie.
Yeah, a tale of 3 races coming with 500 to go. All of the action in the centre of the course between Italy and Poland for 1st and 2nd place, looking to secure those qualifying spots. And it is the crew from Italy just leading by about a canvas over Poland. They in turn have just about a little bit of clear water then to the French crew, have now had a good run in to take 3rd place, and the Moldovans back in 5th now, because it's the German crew. Just in the last 100 metres or so, the German crew have put on a really good push here to come back through the Moldovans. I don't know if they're going to respond, and the German crew are now coming to try put pressure on the French for the qualifying spot. Yannick Metzger in the bow seat of Germany was ill over the winter. His training affected, and he's only getting back to full strength now, so he's doing his best here along with Julius Christ in the stroke seat to get back into contention. But centre of the course, Pete, they'll be coming into view for you there. No doubt about the leaders there between Italy and Poland. I don't know if the Germans are going to have enough water to come back and take that 3rd qualifying spot from France.
Yeah, good question. We've got quite a tight one at the front of the field here. Not much separating them. There's 0.7 of a second at 1,500. It's probably less than that now as we come up towards 300 metres or so to go. They're both at 38 strokes a minute, Italy and Poland, and 3 places to go through. So the question's going to be, can France hold on to that 3rd and final place with the fast-moving Germans moving up on the tower side?
Prvi 2 vstopnici zagotovo Italiji in pa Poljski, ki se borita za zmago. Na 3. mestu zaenkrat dobro kaže Franciji. Sicer pa samo še kratek skok nazaj. Jaka Čas je včeraj praznoval svoj 23. rojstni dan. Vse najboljše, Jaka Čas.
Here we go then. Italy have responded. They've gone to 39, and that pulls them up to half a length on Poland, who have half a length on France. That's the 1, 2, 3 going through to the AB semi-final. Germany will lead the way into the C final to be joined by, in lane 5, Hungary, and in lane 1, Moldova. Next race is already coming down the course. It's the first repechage for the women's double sculls. We have Fabienne Schweitzer and Lisa Lurcher for Switzerland in lane 1. Kyra Edwards and Saskia Budget of Great Britain in lane 2. Sanita Pushpure and Zoe Hyde for Ireland in 3. Margot Bayol and Emma Lunati for France in 4. Dania Serebrianska and Yevgenia Dovodko for Ukraine in lane 5.
Poglejmo štartno listo naslednjega repasaža. To so ženski dvojni dvojci. Na progi 1 Švica, na progi 2 Velika Britanija, na progi 3 Irska, na progi 4 Francija in na progi 5 Ukrajina.
Well, Camilla, we're back to that tougher progression system. Just 2 to go through to the A final. Ireland looking good out in front at the moment, but not much to split Great Britain and France.
Yeah, and you'd almost expect Ireland to be out in the lead, almost a surprise to see the world bronze medalists in the repechage. But this European Championships has surprised us a little bit, with top quality crews finding themselves with that additional race to try and find spaces in A finals and semi-finals. And it's A finals in this case of the repechage of the women's double, as you mentioned, 2 to go through. Ireland by a canvas at the moment. Sabnita Pashpure in the bow seat will just be able to see 1,000 metres crossed ahead of Great Britain, who sit in second. But the French combination, a very experienced one in Lanati and Baillieu in third position, barely a canvas off the British. These two French athletes out of the women's quad from the Olympic Games in Tokyo. Emma Lanati with an incredibly successful season in the single scull last year, and she's setting the rhythm here in the stroke seat for France. They're currently at 36 strokes a minute in comparison to the British, who are down at 36 as well. So equal rates of striking as they surround Ireland, who pierce through in that lead. They're slightly elevated, the Irish. They're up at 37 strokes a minute set by Zoe Hyde in the stroke seat. And that just seems to be working a little bit better for them. That little bit more liveliness has now drawn them out almost to 3/4 of a length over Great Britain, who in turn are still well into overlap with France in third. It's then Ukraine and Switzerland at the back of the field. These two faced each other at the first World Cup of the season in Zagreb, where Switzerland came out on top with a gold medal. But it's a big old step through clear water to try and reach across to France for those qualifying positions as they move into sight of Ritchie.
Yeah, great to see the Irish here leading this one out. They're setting the tone for the race coming through 500. They, Camilla was saying that they do have the higher rate, 37, 38 strokes per minute, compared to the other crews at a lower amount, but they are the fastest boat out on the water. They are pushing through now, coming through 500. They're taking with them on either side of them GB and France as well, side by side, and it is the GB crew just coming up now to mount a challenge against the Irish and coming to within half a canvas of the lead, which Sanita Puspura and Zoe Hyde had opened up in the first half of this race. The French crew trying to stay in touch here, but it looks like all about Ireland and GB coming in. I don't know if France will be able to come back. If they're going to go, they need to go now. They are rating just at 36, 37 strokes per minute. The Irish 38, the GB up at 37. So it looks like GB and Ireland going for it here, looking to secure the 2 qualifying spots. And it's all going to be about that challenge from the French crew to see if they can come back into contention to get into the A final. Lots of support again from the bank here. The Irish crew, part of the Big Strong Girls, on a really great social media campaign between the Irish women's crews, and they've just recently set up a fund for junior girls as well through some of the merchandise that they sell. Hopefully still in control here, Pete, but the GB crew, really great last 500 for them to come back up and challenge the Irish.
Yeah, they've closed that margin right down. They're at 39 strokes a minute. The Irish have gone to 41, now 42. Zoe Hyde pumping up the rating there to just make sure they hold on to the lead, because here come France. France have now drawn level with Great Britain for that second place here. Bayol and Lunati up at 41 strokes a minute. Nothing to separate them, so the race really is on now for that second place into the A final.
Izjemna gneča v boju za 2 vstopnici v A finale. V spredju sta sicer Irki, ampak tamle pospešujeta tudi Britanki, pa tudi Francozi nista blizu.
So Ireland are good for the win. I think France have moved through Great Britain. They have. So Ireland take the win, a canvas up on France. France a second, half a canvas up on Great Britain. So Ireland and France progress through to the A final. Great Britain leads the way into the B final, to be joined then by Ukraine, just crossing the line for 4th, and then 5th place, Switzerland. Second repechage now for the women's double sculls. We've got Michala Pospizilova and Alice Prokesova for the Czech Republic in lane 1. We were due to have Poland in lane 2, but they haven't started here. So we have no boat in lane 2, and then we have Donata Karoliene and Dovila Rimkute for Lithuania in 3. Leonie Menzel and Maren Volts for Germany in lane 4, and then Stefania Butonio and Clara Guerra for Italy in lane 5.
Zdaj pa bomo dobili odgovor na vprašanje, kateri dve posadki se bosta pridružili, irski in pa francoski ter romunski in pa nizozemski. Slednji dve sta si že včeraj priborili nastop v velikem finalu z zmago v predtekmovalnih skupinah. Imamo pa naslednje kandidatke na progi 1 Češka, na progi 2 Poljska, na progi 3 Litva, na progi 4 Nemčija in pa na progi 5 Italija.
Well, Camilla, sadly, Poland had to withdraw for medical reasons. Marta Wieliczko unable to row today. Hopefully she's on the mend, but things looking good for Karoliene and Rimkute out in front.
Yeah, sending best wishes to the Polish crew. Hopefully they recover and we see them later on in the season. But that has really opened the door for what has been a stunning performance here by the Lithuanian combination, Karoliene and Rimkute, who have just dominated the first half of this race. An ocean of clear water behind their stern. They certainly will be in first place. And they really did give the Romanians a good run for their money in the heats yesterday. The world champions that have been unbeaten for so long were put under vast amounts of pressure by this Lithuanian combination. And so probably a good sign that they are on form here at this regatta. But Donata Karoliene in the bow seat, the Rio bronze medalist for Lithuania, joined by Dovile Rimkute. Both of them teamed up into the quad last year to finish 7th at the World Championships, but back in this double scull combination that seems to hold a little bit of magic. They really are pushing out ahead of the rest of this field by some margin. Looking back then, well, it's all about the Germans and the Italians for the second spot through to the A final. And as it stands at the moment, Germany taking honours ahead of Italy, but Italy up at 36 strokes a minute. They're matching the boat speed of Germany. Still opportunity here, Richie, in the sprinting stages for this race to develop.
Yeah, no doubt about the leaders there. They were the fastest crew out of the crews that didn't qualify for the A final, the Lithuanians, and it'll be interesting to see how their times clock against the Irish and the French from the previous repechage. They've gone through more than 5 clear lengths of water between them and the Germans, just holding off at the moment. The Germans have 3/4 of a length over the Italian crew, so all to play for coming down for these two crews with less than 500 meters to go. The Czech crew back in 4th place and a little bit off the pace here to challenge into the A final. But it's all about this crew from Lithuania. It's going to be a great matchup when we see them against the Romanians and the Irish in the final. The big question is who's going to join those crews into the final at the moment. Germany at the moment doing all the running. The Italian crew, we're waiting to see. They're picking the rate up a little bit here, up at 39 strokes per minute. The Germans down at 35. And the boat speed it's kind of similar here, but the Italians now just starting to make a move, taking the rate up even higher again. So the Italians going for the line here. No doubt about the leaders, Pete. Lithuania all the way. The question is, can Germany hold off the challenge of the Italians?
Yeah, with Butignon and Guerra, they're up at 40 strokes a minute. Germany's still at 38, and that means that Italy is closing in on that margin. It's about a length, or no, less than a length, as they come into the last 150 meters.
Ja, Litva je daleč spredaj v boju za vstopnici, preostali dve vstopnici v veliki finale, v zadnjem pa dvoboj med nemško in pa italijansko posadko, katera bo imela močnejši finiš za drugo vstopnico.
Well, Italy throwing absolutely everything to this finishing sprint here. 50 meters to go. They're at 42 strokes a minute, and they've got overlap, but I think they're going to run out of water. Lithuania take the win. That's Donata Karoliene and Dovile Rimkute, and Germany just about hold on to second place, half a length ahead of Italy. So Lithuania and Germany go through to the A final, and despite a great effort from Butignon and Guerra of Italy, they'll go through to the B final, where they'll be joined by the Czech Republic, crossing the line here for 4th. Moving now from the women's double sculls to the men's double sculls in the first repechage. We have Bashkai Mate and Zabo Marton for Hungary in lane 1. Krzysztof Kasparek and Simon Poznik for Poland in 2. Mark Weber and Jonas Gelsen for Germany in lane 3. Mikhail Kustein and Johan Polak for Estonia in lane 4. And Alexander Filipovic and Alexander Bejic for Serbia in lane 5.
Včeraj smo že dobili prve 4 za polfinale v konkurenci moških dvojnih dvojcev, Hrvate, Italijane, Francoze in pa Irce. Zdaj pa gremo še k repasažnim skupinam in tole je prva. Mađarska na progi 1, na progi 2 Poljska, na progi 3 Nemčija, na progi 4 Estonija in na progi 5 Srbija.
Well, they're through halfway. Camilla, who's out in front?
Serbia out in front at the moment. Filipovic and Bejic in the lead here. They're at 37 strokes a minute and still the fastest moving boat on the course, but that title to be held jointly with Germany. It's Weber and Galsen that are piercing through the pack ahead of Poland and Estonia. And they look so much more settled than the Polish crew that have been chasing after that second qualifying spot through to the A final. They're still up at 38 strokes a minute, and certainly looking at them, it looks that way in comparison to Germany's much more tamed approach here in this third 500. But then Estonia, we can't forget about them as well. We've probably got 3 crews here that are eligible for that second spot through to the AB semi-finals. Only Hungary somewhat off the pace here, but a wonderful race here for the Serbians. They've held an impressive 38 strokes a minute through this third 500 metres, and that really has given them good boat speed. But starting to slip now as we move into the sprinting stages on that boat speed, because emerging from that wonderful rhythm that I was describing, held by Gelsen in the stroke seat, are Germany. They've really picked up the pace. They've lifted the rating 1 pip, and as they come in front of Ritchie, I fear they're closing that gap to Serbia and moving away from the bun fight for that last qualifying spot to make that more comfortable.
Yeah, the focus seems to be on the German crew here coming through 500. The Serbians doing all the running in the first half of the race down to the last 500, but it's the German crew that are absolutely motoring here up just in second place, but they're coming up to challenge now the Serbians. The Germans still at 37 strokes per minute, so they might have more left in the tank as they come down into the last quarter of this race. They look secure with the 2 qualifying spots ahead of the crew then from Poland back in third place, along with the crew from Estonia, and then a little bit further back to Hungary out of the contention at the moment. Just 2 crews to qualify, so the German crew, let's see what they've got left coming in towards the finish here. They are pushing on at 37 strokes per minute, fastest boat out on the water at the moment, so they're having a really great last charge for the line here to put all the pressure on the crew from Serbia. And just as I say that, they have now taken the lead, so it's Germany 1, Serbia 2 coming in towards the finish. In sight for you, really good finish here, Pete, from the Germans. What a last 500 from them.
Yeah, this is amazing. Weber and Gelsen have absolutely rocketed to the front. A really, really good last couple of 100 metres. And we've got Bejic and Filipovic at 38. These 2 looking good for the A final positions. I can't see anybody touching them in the last 100 metres.
Ja, Srba sta začela obetavno, zdaj le sta padla na drugo mesto, prehitela sta jih Nemca Weber in Gelsen. Bomo videli, kakšen bo razplet. 2 vstopnici pa tako ali tako vodita v polfinale A, B, ostali se bodo pomerili v boju za finale C oziroma D.
Germany's Mark Weber and Jonas Gelsen are going to take the win in this first repechage of the men's double sculls. They're a length up on Alexander Filipovic and Alexander Bejic of Serbia. Those 2 go through to the AB semi-final. We will then see, it's close across the line, Kasparek and Poznik of Poland, joined by Kustein and Polak of Estonia, and then coming in for 5th place, Bashkai and Zabo of Hungary. We'll see them again in the CD semi-finals. Moving swiftly on then, the second repechage for the men's double sculls. Magnus Rathenborg and Bastian Secker for Denmark in lane 1. Yuri Ivanov and Pavlov Yurchenko for Ukraine in lane 2. Florin Arteni and Ciprian Tudosa for Romania in lane 3. Jonas Richter and Hugo Nerud for Sweden in lane 4. Tristan van den Busche and Aaron Andries for Belgium in 5, and Emil Nerkov and Boris Yotov for Bulgaria in lane 6.
Drugi repasaž moških dvojnih dvojcev na progi 1 Danska, na progi 2 Ukrajina, na progi 3 Romunija, na progi 4 Švedska, na progi 5 Belgija in na progi 6 Bolgarija.
Well, coming out towards halfway, we've got Van den Busche and Andries out in front. But not by much, though, Camilla. They look pretty much level with Arteni and Tudosa for Romania.
Yeah, not by much at all. And the Belgian combination of Van den Busche and Andries are going to have to summon up all of that age group experience. They're the reigning under-23 world champions in this doubles combination. And they're littered with medals from the single sculls at junior level as well. But they really haven't responded to what Romania have thrown at them. Arteni and Tudosa here have just really been patient through the first half and taken this moment to move through the Belgian crew. They're at 39 strokes a minute, but as we say, the Romanians train and race that way at the high rating, so certainly very characteristic for them. Now they've moved out in front and quite solidly into that first spot, half a length ahead of Belgium. And Belgium, they are a little bit in danger here of being caught by the chasing pack, because Sweden also starting to try and move. They've been keeping tabs on the Romanians, trying to match their speed and pull them through the pack and closer to that race for second to try and allow them to progress through to those A-B semi-finals. The rest of the crews, so the remaining 4 crews after the top 2 will be going through to the C-D semi-finals. So it's all about ensuring that you can get the best ranking overall here at this European Championships, and making it through to those A-B semi-finals is one tick in the box to do that. It guarantees you a top 12 ranking. But here comes Sweden. Belgium are really in danger here, Richie.
Yeah, all to play for, coming down with 500 to go in the second repechage of the men's double sculls. Really exciting racing, and a lot of the small boats we've seen across all of the categories today. There's wind has picked up a little bit here coming through the open part of this course on Lake Bled, but it doesn't seem to be having much of an effect on the crews here. They're handling the conditions a little bit blustery around 500, but nothing too much to worry about. So it's still all about the Romanians and the Belgian crews here leading it out. Romania still just holding on to the lead. Belgium trying to come back and push it for the lead. They're matching each other both in boat speed, but the Belgian crew much lower, 35 strokes per minute, by the Romanians up at 40 strokes per minute, with just about 300 meters to go. They look like the 1 and 2. There is the challenges coming from Sweden and from Ukraine as well. Sweden the closest to the 2 leading crews, but I don't know if they're going to be able to come back. They've just lifted it again now for Sweden, trying to challenge the Belgians for second place, and they might push each other on. But Romania looking good here for the second repechage, looking to join Germany and Serbia from the previous race. So Pete, coming into view for you, Romania all the way here, all about Belgium. Can they hold on to that second spot?
Yeah, Romania not the fastest out of the blocks, but they've just held a slightly better boat speed, certainly through that middle 1,000, pushing them out into the lead. And Belgium have tried to hold on to them. They're at 33, underrating the rest of the field. These 2 boats looking good for the AB semi-finals. I can't see Sweden, who would be the closest contenders, closing down this margin in the last 100 meters.
Dober ritem romunske posadke, ki kot prva prihaja v cilj v tem repasažu. Za drugo mesto pa tamle v ozadju bo dvoboj med švedsko in pa belgijsko posadko. Belgija je toliko spredaj, da bo osvojila to drugo vstopnico v veliki finale.
Well, that's it, locked in. Romania take the win ahead of Belgium. Those 2 go to the AB semi-final. 3rd place Sweden ahead of 4th place Ukraine, 5th Denmark, and then 6th place we have Bulgaria. They're going through to the CD semi-final, where they'll contest for places into the C final for the men's double sculls.
Ja, no, prehitra sem bila. Belgijci bodo morali seveda še se dokazati tudi v polfinalu. Torej v polfinale sta se iz te repasažne skupine uvrstili romunska in pa belgijska posadka.
Next race on the course then, it's the repechage for the women's single sculls. We were due to have 4 boats lining up here, but we've got 3 athletes contesting places into the AB semi-final. Evangelia Fragku for Greece in lane 1. Marta Wieliczko for Poland was due to be in lane 2, but we know that she's withdrawn because she had to withdraw from the double as well. And then we have Bertus Kitty for Hungary in lane 3 and lane Rumpe for Latvia in lane 4.
Zdaj pa smo pri disciplini Nine Kostanšek, ženski enojci. Nina je že včeraj uspela se prebiti v polfinalne boje, ki bodo na sporedu jutri okoli 11:30. Sicer pa imamo zdaj le 3 posadke, ki bodo vse šle v polfinale, kajti Poljakinja je odpovedala zaradi bolezni. Tako da imamo Grkinjo, Madžarko in pa Latviko zdaj na vodi.
Well, coming up through halfway now, Fragku for Greece currently leading, but matching the rating of Bertus of Hungary.
Yeah, it's still Fragku, as you say, Pete, the under-23 world champion from 2022 in the women's pair, now going solo here in the women's single event at the European Championships, and making a really good start to the campaign here, leading out this repechage ahead of Bertus Kitty of Hungary. It all looks quite pedestrian here through the centre part of the course. All 3 scullers just really taking their time here, and why would they not, with those top 3 going through to the AB semi-finals. It is really just a race to see who perhaps has a different race plan for further stages in the event, because all 3 scullers going through. Fragku deciding that her strategy is to go out in front, demonstrate that she, as the Greek sculler, is the fastest amongst all of these fairly young athletes. Just 20 years old, Evangelia Fragku, going up against Lena Rumpe of Latvia, just 19 years old. A clutching of medals for her for Latvia from a clutching of finals performances even at the junior level for Latvia, but she's trailing the 2 leading scullers from Hungary and Greece respectively. But a very picturesque scene here, as Richie mentioned, wind picking up ever so slightly. We don't have that glass flat water like we did this morning or yesterday, but they'll be thankful that it is a little bit of a tailwind pushing them down this course in the single sculls, Richie.
Yeah, they can take a little bit of a tour of the area. Now, they're not under pressure, having secured their spots into the semi-finals, so it's an ideal time for, again, them to enjoy the really majestic views that we have here at Lake Bled, but also to find those spots along the course that'll give them their markers about where they are, where they want to do their pushes when it comes to the semi-finals as well, so they can get their bearings here. Unfortunate to see that Marta Wieliczko of Poland wasn't able to start. We wish her a speedy recovery. Would have been a great race because she was the fastest out of the 4 scullers in the heat from earlier on, so it would have been great to see how she would have fared here. Going through 500 though in this one and only rep of the women's single sculls, the Greek sculler, she's still pushing on here, rating 31 strokes per minute and pushing the boat on ahead of the sculler then from the sculler, from Hungary in 2nd place at the moment. They are again clear water ahead. You can see the Austrian sculler, or Latvian sculler, just paddling through as well, taking their time coming down here, and they'll be happy to get this race under the belt. A little bit of training done, get back and rest up then in form for the semi-finals, which will take place tomorrow. So coming into view for you, Pete, the Greek sculler, she's still rowing very nicely here and pushing all the way to the line, but I'm sure she'll be not as flat out as she would have been had the Polish sculler been part of this race.
Yeah, no real need to overexert yourself in this repechage when you'll be going through to the AB semi-final next. I do love this boat class, though, because it is such a hotly contested field, the women's single sculls, and the world best time set such a long time ago, 21 years ago, back in Seville in 2002. The world best time is 7:07:71, set by Rumjana Nakova of Bulgaria. Her son Emil Nakov actually raced in the previous race in the men's double scull, representing Bulgaria with Boris Yotov. So impressive stuff. That's the time to beat. It stood for 21 years. The closest anybody's, I think, come to it was Sanita Pushpure But we'll see what happens when we get to the sharper end of competition on the weekend. But Evangelia Fraku for Greece comfortably leading home in this repechage for the women's singles.
Repasaž ženskih enojcev, torej zaradi odpovedi poljske tekmovalke, bolj za prestiž in zato tudi lagodnejše veslanje tekmovalk. Grkinja pa prihaja skozi cilj kot prva.
Well, that was the one and only rep for the women's single. We've now got 4 repechages for the men's singles. The first one's already passing through halfway. We've got Olli-Pekka Karppinen for Finland in lane 1, Gonzalo Garcia Ferreira for Spain in 2, Lennart van Lierop for the Netherlands in 3, Piotr Plominski for Poland in 4, and Danny Fridman of Israel in lane 5.
No, takole, zdaj smo pa prišli do še ene slovenske discipline, moški enojci. Malce kasneje bo nastopil tudi naš adut Filip Matej Pfeiffer, ampak zdaj smo pri prvem repasažu, v katerem so finski veslač, potem španski, nizozemski, poljski in pa izraelski.
Well, they've already passed Camilla, but Camilla, what was the story of the race so far?
Story was all about Van Lierop of the Netherlands. A great performance from him. Big shoes to fill for Van Lierop, having had Melvin Tweller in the single last year, who just burst onto this category stage and dominated alongside some of the big names. But Van Lierop making good headway in this repechage ahead of Piotr Plominski of Poland, who sits in second, 2 through to the AB semi-final. And I think the only challenger to come perhaps from Garcia Ferreira of Spain. We know a historically fast finisher, so I suspect all the action will be folding in front of Richie in a few moments' time. Behind them, it's Fridman and Karppinen of Israel and Finland completing the mix and possibly looking to head to the CD semi-finals. But as I say, my money certainly is on a fast finish from Gonzalo Garcia Ferreira of Spain, who sits in third currently, but will be going after Plominski of Poland. Richie, what's happening where you are?
Yeah, it'll be interesting to see how this plays out over the last 500. What can Garcia Ferreira do to get back into contention? But the leader, Van Lierop, he's down at 32 strokes per minute. So he is a much lower rate than the other crews. The other crews up at 36, 37 strokes, but he is leading it out. He's not having it his own way, though. He is just 1 length ahead of the Polish sculler in second place, who in turn has a little bit of clear water. And as we were saying there, Camilla, we're just watching the Spanish sculler wrap it up now. He is taking the rate right up and he's going for it up at 38 strokes per minute, looking to come back and push for that second qualifying spot. But he's matching his boat speed to that of Van Lierop from the Netherlands. He was unlucky not to win his heat in the earlier races, second in his, and he's definitely the fastest out of the 5 boats that are racing here. In control, he's just got that 1 length cushion ahead of the Polish sculler, who will be doing everything he can to hold off the challenger Garcia Ferreira, who is still pushing on here and trying to get back into contention. Just 2 crews to qualify into the AB semi-final. Netherlands still leading it out. Van Lierop centre of the course in lane 3, and then the Polish sculler right beside him, so they're able to keep an eye on each other. The Van Lierop will be able to react to any challenge that comes from Plominski. But coming in towards the finish, let's see what Garcia Ferreira, I think, Pete, he's going to run out of water. He's not going to be able to come back into contention against Plominski of Poland for the second spot.
Yeah, it's going to be a tough one coming into the last 100 or so meters. The sprint is on. We've got Garcia Ferreira at 40. We've got Plominski at 38. They're separated by perhaps a foot or 2. We're going to see what this finishing sprint has in store. Van Lierop out in front, holding a length up. Only 2 places to the AB semi.
Le 2 mesti vodita v polfinale in zaenkrat kaže dobro posadki Nizozemske in pa Španije.
Well, that's it. Van Lierop takes the win, half a length up on Garcia Ferreira. Those 2 go through to the AB semi-final. Plominski realised that he slightly blew up in the last 50 metres there, so he's accepted his fate, leading the way into the CD semi-final to be joined by Danny Fridman of Israel, crossing the line in 4th, ahead of Karppinen for Finland in 5th.
Smo pri drugi repasažni skupini. Naj povem še enkrat, da bo Filip Matej Pfeiffer nastopil v 4. repasažu ob 11:30 minut.
We're going to jump straight into the second of the 4 repêchages for the men's singles. Alexandros Sissimidis for Cyprus in lane 1. David Mumolo for Italy in 2. Tim Brace for Belgium in lane 3. Andre Pinto of Portugal in 4. And Eskil Borg for Sweden in lane 5.
Imamo torej 5 posadk v drugim repasažu. Na progi 1 Cipr, na progi 2 Italija, na progi 3 Belgija, na progi 4 Portugalska in na progi 5 Švedska.
Just 2 places, as with all of these 4 repêchages, just 2 places through to the AB semi-final. Coming up to Camilla at halfway, it looks good for Tim Brace, but he's not got the biggest margin ahead of the Italian and the Portuguese athletes.
Yeah, Tim Brace will need to keep his wits about him here, the Belgian out in front. Remarkable, really, that he's so competitive at this open level in the men's single scull, as he raced just a mere 2 years ago in the lightweight category at the Olympic Games for Belgium in the lightweight men's double. But he's currently leading out over Mumolo of Italy by just shy of half a length as we've gone through halfway. Also within touching distance, Andre Pinto of Portugal, just kind of closing the gap between the fight at the back of the field between Eskil Borg and Sissimidis of Cyprus. But it's a very lovely arrowhead shape coming here towards the finish. It's kind of that classic chevron shape with Brice at the sort of point of that arrow for Belgium, and he's actually pushing on now a little bit. He's at 36 strokes a minute and being matched for boat speed by the Italian, so both moving together at this half-length distance that separates them here at the front. 2 to go through to the AB semi-final, currently Belgium and Italy, but only a length back to Andre Pinto of Portugal. And Richie, you're getting all the action there at the 500 metres as people start switching on the sprint.
Yeah, absolutely. Love to see if there was some drone footage of this, because as you were saying, Camilla, it's a perfect chevron being led from the centre of the course by Tim Breers of Belgium, and right beside him Momolo of Italy, Pinto of Portugal. They are 2nd and 3rd, and then it's out to Sweden and Cyprus for 4th and 5th. So all of the action in the centre lanes. The early leader was Pinto of Portugal coming through 500. He's moved back into 3rd now, and we saw Tim Breers of Belgium move into the lead. He had a very good heat as well, 2nd in his heat, and unlucky not to qualify into the final, but doing the job here in the 2nd repêchage of the men's single sculls. Good history as well last year, 12th in the Europeans, so he'll be hoping to keep on this form to move on. To glance over the shoulder there from Mumolo of Italy, just to look and see where Breers of Belgium is. They have an overlap now, so the Italian sculler having a really good last 200-300 metres to come back and get an overlap with Belgium and try challenge for the lead. They've opened up against the scullers then for Pinto in 3rd place at the moment, and if he wants to challenge for a spot in the semis, he needs to go now, because the Italian is absolutely motoring here and coming up to try challenge the Belgian sculler. Both of them matching each other stroke for stroke, up at 35 strokes per minute. Both speeds similar as well, so these are the 1 and 2 at the moment, coming up at 250 to go. Looking good for Belgium. And the Italian, really great last 500 from him, Pete. Momolo of Italy pushing on here and try pushing for the win against Belgium. Finish line is in sight.
I love the Italians' outlook on this sort of thing. They always go for the gutsy finish. They don't like to be pipped to the post. Even though he's in a position to progress to the AB semi-final, he'll still go for it. And he's at 35, starting to wind it up now. We've got the Belgian Tim Brace at 33, so we'll see what that does to their boat speeds coming to the last 150 or so metres. Push coming in then from the Cyprian Sissimidis and Pinto, the Portuguese athlete, but too much clear water to try and close in for a place through to the AB semis.
Mislim, da ni nobenih dvomov, kdo od teh tekmovalcev bo šel v polfinale. V ospredju sta namreč 2 posadki. Belgijec ima lepo prednost pred najbližjim zasledovalcem Italijanom Mumolom. Torej, Tim Brace je tako rekoč zmagovalec tega repasaža.
Tim Brace takes the win for Belgium, just under a length up on David Mumolo for Italy. Those two go through to the AB semi-final. 3rd place, Andre Pinto for Portugal. No, 3rd place, Alexandros Sissimidis for Cyprus, ahead of 4th place, Andre Pinto of Portugal. They'll both go through to the CD semi-final, where they'd be joined by Eskil Borg for Sweden. Now for the third of 4 repêchages for the men's single sculls. Kjetil Borch for Norway in lane 1, Bahman Nasiri for Azerbaijan in lane 2, Christian Vasilev for Bulgaria in 3, Nikolai Pimenov for Serbia in lane 4 and Canton Antonielli for Monaco in lane 5.
Kratek povzetek repasaža 3 na progi 1 Norveška, na progi 2 Azerbajdžan, na progi 3 Bolgarija, proga 4 Srbija in pa proga 5 Monako.
Well, coming up through the 1,000, Nikolai Pimenov leads Christian Vasilev by perhaps a canvas. We were talking about Pimenov yesterday, weren't we, Camilla?
We were indeed talking about Pimenov, and we were talking about his father, a great rower as well, following in the family footsteps. And having recently joined the Serbian team, he's had a strong performance in the singles so far this season, picking up a bronze medal at World Cup 1 in Zagreb. But it was against this man that he had to fight it for in that final in Zagreb. It was Christian Vasilev who finished 4th, just off the podium. And here we see them once again going toe-to-toe in this third repêchage of the men's single sculls. Then further back, the best of the rest, well, that honour goes to Nasiri of Azerbaijan, who is just really looking like he's trying as he might to stay ahead of the Olympic silver medalist from Tokyo, Kjetil Borch of Norway in lane 1. Surprising to see him all the way back in this repêchage, looking unlikely to qualify through to the AB semi-finals after that peak performance at the Tokyo Games. And also Canton Antonielli of Monaco, escaping one of the busiest weekends of the year, I'm sure, in Monte Carlo for the Monaco Grand Prix. Much more sensible to be out here on the lake in Slovenia, here in Lake Bled. But a great race here at the front of the field. Pimenov and Vasilev, a rivalry that I'm sure we'll see develop all the way through the season. But the next chapter in that story currently being written in this repêchage for those top 2 spots through to the AB semi-finals, Richie.
Yeah, and it was Christian Vasilev who has the fastest time out of the crews, all of these scullers in the heats. So he's the informed sculler here. And as you mentioned, he came 4th in World Cup 1 to Pimenov, who took the bronze medal recently in Zagreb. Reversing that at the moment, going through 500 at the third repêchage in the men's single sculls. It is Vasilev leading it out ahead of the Serbian sculler, then Pimenov. These two, there's just about a canvas, half a length between these two, so very easy, or it might be easy for these scullers to get back into contention here. And they are overlapping as well with the other contenders, so all to play for when they come down. 2 crews to qualify again into the final, and it is Pimenov actually in the last 100 meters has just moved into the lead. So it's Pimenov and Vasilev matching each other here now, stroke for stroke, 37 strokes per minute for the Bulgarian, lower rate for the Serbian at 33, and the lead changing with each and every stroke that they are taking. These two pushing each other on. They've opened up a little bit of a lead then ahead of the Azerbaijani sculler in 3rd place, and Kjetil Borch having a much better second half of the race here and coming back, moving very nicely, taking the rate up to 38 strokes per minute. So just coming in with 200 to go, the lead back with the Bulgarian now. Vasilev coming in towards the finish. He's leading it out. The charge from the Serbian, he briefly took the lead there in the last couple of 100 meters. So just seeing as they come in towards the line for you, Pete, the Bulgarian and Serbian battling it out here.
Yeah, they are having a good ding-dong battle for the front of this third repêchage for the men's singles. It's gone the other way compared to the result of the A final in Zagreb just a couple of weeks ago, where we saw the Bulgarian come out 4th to Pimenov's 3rd. It's turned the other way around now, though, and the Bulgarian leading.
V vodstvu torej Kristjan Vasilev, ki prihaja kot prvi v cilj v tem repasažu. Na drugem mestu pa srbski predstavnik Nikolaj Pimenov.
Well, that's it across the line. Vasilev ahead of Pimenov, and then Kjetil Borch. He's been unwell recently, so surprised to see him racing at the European Championships, but shows the determination in the athlete that he is. Hopefully he's fully on the mend soon enough and in hot running for the World Championships later on this summer. But in the meantime, he'll be going through to the CD semi-final along with Bahman Nasiri and Canton Antonielli.
Takole, kje so slovenske zastave? Zdaj gre pa Filip Matej Pfeiffer po svojo vstopnico v polfinale. Član veslaškega kluba Ljubljanica, varovanec Jana Ilarja, je nedavno praznoval svoj 23. rojstni dan in upajmo, da mu bo uspelo priti do polfinalnih nastopov. Konkurenca je huda, ima na drugi strani med drugim tudi Damirja Martina, dvakratnega olimpijskega prvaka iz Rija v enojcu in pa v četvercu iz Londona 2012. Ja, zanimivo in napeto bo, zato bo vaša podpora še toliko bolj pomembna.
Well, here we go, coming out towards halfway, the fourth and last of the repechage for the men's single sculls. Camilla, this is exciting stuff. The Slovenian Filip Matej Pfeiffer was leading ahead of the silver and bronze Olympic medalist, Damir Martin.
He was indeed leading. He's slipping back a little bit now. He's turning his head towards Martin of Croatia. But still, most importantly, in that second spot to qualify through to the AB semi-final. Hot on his heels, though, the Hungarian Petevari Molnar Bendegush right there with him. Certainly not a done deal yet here for the Slovenian on home water. But I'm sure with a little bit of home crowd energy, it will lift him through the stands. So we must start preparing the Slovenian fans here for the chase for that second qualifying spot through to the AB semi-finals. But Damir Martin here having a much better regatta than he did on home water in Zagreb, leading out this first repechage, this fourth repechage of the men's single sculls. Just Brian Kolsch out the back of this field in fourth position. A shame for him, but as Richie and myself actually ended up speaking to Brian's parents yesterday, who I'm sure are watching in the grandstands, and they said he gets his head down, he gets on with it, and I'm sure he will keep plugging away here in repechage 4 of the men's single sculls. But what a wonderful race developing out front here, just behind Damir Martin. He'll be able to watch it all unfold between Petevari Molnar and Pfeiffer, the Slovenian, here for that final spot into the AB semi-finals, Richie.
Yeah, Damir Martin looking like he's in control here for Croatia, coming up to 500. We mentioned World Cup 1, didn't have the best semi-final, he was way off the pace, but came back in the final of the B final of that race to win it, and win it considerably well, with a huge amount of support at the Zagreb venue just a few weeks ago. He's leading this one out here. He's up at 34 strokes per minute, rowing very nicely, but staying just clear water ahead of then the nearest competitors from Slovenia, Filip Matej Pfeiffer and Petevari Molnar Bendegush of Hungary. Brian Kolsch, the youngest competitor here, just 20 years of age, and 15th in last year's World Cup, and doing well against these more seasoned athletes up towards the front. Natasha, I'm going to hand over for you, and hopefully you can get the local crowd to cheer on Filip Matej Pfeiffer to challenge for that second qualifying spot.
Ja, tako kot je rekel Riči, zdaj potrebuje Filip Matej Pfeiffer vašo podporo. Mađarski predstavnik mu diha za vratnik, Matej se sicer še drži na drugem mestu, ampak zelo tesno bo v boju za tole drugo vstopnico. Prva je tako rekoč oddana Damirju Martinu. Dajmo, Matej, zdaj so ti zadnji metri pomembni, zdaj je pomembno, da stisneš te zadnje moči. Mi smo s tabo, se pravi slovensko občinstvo je tukaj. Kje ste navijači? Dajmo zdaj le dvignite zastave, ustvarite ta navijaški val za Mateja Filipa Pfeifferja, da se prebije do tega drugega mesta in pa seveda nastopa, da mu bodo odprta vrata v polfinale in pa seveda potem tudi naprej v boje za medalje. Dajmo, Filip Matej, torej 23-letnik iz Ljubljane, prihaja proti cilju skupaj seveda z ostalimi. Ali mu bo uspelo dobiti to drugo vstopnico? Zaenkrat kaže kar dobro, še se dobro drži. Dajmo, Matej, zmoreš, imaš še nekaj metrov do cilja. Ali bo uspelo torej slovenskemu tekmovalcu priti v polfinale? Na čelu te skupine sicer Damir Martin, ampak tamle v ozadju ogočen dvoboj med Mađarsko in pa Slovenijo. Filip Matej Pfeiffer, dajmo še zadnji metri. Vemo, da imaš to. Zmoreš, dajmo, Matej. In takole je. Filip Pfeiffer je v polfinalu.
What a performance there. Damir Martin taking the win. That was close across the line. I think the Hungarian just came back at the end to progress through and take the second place into the AB semi-final. It looked as though the local favourite, Filip Matej Pfeiffer, was going to be the one to progress through. An amazing sprint finish. But those progressing, we've got the Croatian Damir Martin and Peter Bendeguj of Hungary. Those two go through to the AB semi-final, and despite a great sprint from Filip Matej Pfeiffer of Slovenia, he leads the way into the CD semi-final to be joined by Irishman Brian Kolsch.
Ja, nažalost sem bila kar prehitra. Videla sem že Filipa Mateja Pfeifferja v polfinalu. Nažalost se ni išlo, ampak verjamemo, da bo Filip Matej dal vse od sebe tudi v drugem polfinalu, torej finalu C in D, in mu želimo seveda veliko uspeha tam. Škoda, da se ni išlo, ampak še bodo priložnosti za tega mladega ljubljanskega veslača, mladega slovenskega veslača, da se pokaže in dokaže in osvoji seveda tudi odličje morda kje na katerem od ostalih prvenstev.
Well, I think that race perfectly demonstrates why you want to watch singles and small boat racing at the finish area, because anything can change. Even with just 20 or 30 meters to go, it can all turn on the head of a coin. So an amazing result, or an amazing few hundred meters there at the end of that fourth repechage for the men's single sculls. And I do say that if you want to watch some of the big boats, this is the perfect location to be up there at the start watching 6-8 go off at the start. The noise, the atmosphere is absolutely phenomenal. Now, we're through the 4 repechages for the men's singles. We're moving on now to the repechage for the PR2 Mixed double sculls. Silvia Pille-Stepart and Paul Umbach for Germany in lane 1. Veronica Jocko-Plebani and Gianfilippo Mirabile for Italy in lane 2. Perle Bouge and Stéphane Tardieu for France in 3. Svetlana Bohuslavska and Yaroslav Koyuda for Ukraine in lane 4. Jolanta Majka and Michal Gadowski for Poland in 5. And Stephen McGowan and Katie O'Brien for Ireland in lane 6. They're already through the halfway, so we're going to jump straight to it with Camilla.
Thanks, Pete. And you're jumping straight into a story written by the French pairing of Perle Bouge and Stéphane Tardieu, who have just been absolutely dominant in the first half of this race. A combination that is has an average age of 49 between them. So one of the more seasoned combinations here at the European Championships, but that certainly isn't stopping their boat pace from leading out this repechage. They've managed to secure clear water, and with the top 4 going through here to the A final, we then look back to last year's world champions in Ukraine. So a surprise to see them here in this repechage, and especially being led by France, who got the bronze medal at that very same event. Poland sit in 3rd at the moment, and a look over the shoulder there for Michal Gadowski in the stroke seat, just to get the measure of the Ukrainians. And with that, they've decided that they just want to push on that little bit more. They're up at 37 strokes a minute, and they've lifted their boat speed now to be one of the fastest moving on the water, along with Ireland. Ireland also using this 3rd quarter of the race as an opportunity to push on, and they've lifted their boat speed too, to match that of the leading crews. So top 4 to go through. Still France with Ukraine, Poland and Ireland as it stands at the moment. Italy also vying for that 4th spot. They're neck and neck currently with Ireland. I certainly know who Richie will be cheering for at 500.
Yeah, thanks, Camilla, putting me on the spot there. But yeah, I'll be cheering on the crew that are nearest to the bandstand there. That's where the race is going to be between the Italians and the Irish for that 4th qualifying spot. All of the action on the centre lanes, and it is the Ukrainian crew that were fastest out of the heat, so we'd expect them to be leading here. But France having a really good row to push on. They have a clear water lead coming through 500 metres, so it's France leading from Ukraine. Ukraine just have half a length, if that, against the Polish crew, and at the moment it does look like the Italians are slightly ahead of the Irish. The Irish crew will need to respond now to get that qualifying spot into the A final, so it's all to play for these two crews. Italy taking the rate up again, going for that higher strike rate. The Irish crews responding now, taking it up as well, so that's where the battle is going to be. No doubt about the leaders of France. A really powerful display for them to take the lead off of the start and push all the way to the line here. They are leading out who we probably thought would have been the favourites, would have been Ukraine coming in based on times and on form as well. So great row from France to see them leading ahead of the Ukrainian crew, but it's all about Italy and Ireland. Pete, please give me some good news and tell me that the Irish crew are going to get that 4th qualifying spot.
Oh, goodness me, Richie, it is tight. We've got Ireland at 38, we've got Italy at 36. Italy perhaps half a canvas up on Ireland at the moment as they come into the last 200 metres. This is going to be a tight one for the last, or the fourth place into that A final. The leading positions look pretty sewn up. I can't see them changing, but there's less than half a canvas separating Italy, just a smidgen ahead of Ireland at the moment.
4 vstopnice vodijo v finale A. V konkurenci para mešanih dvojnih dvojcev. Francozi so dovolj močni, da si bodo priborili zmago v tem repasažu, potem pa tamle dvoboj med Ukrajinsko in Poljsko. No in kar je še bolj zanimivo, Irska in pa Italija v boju za četrto vstopnico.
Well, that's it. Katie O'Brien takes them up another pip, and that sees them pull ahead of Italy now. So Ireland now in fourth place, just a nose ahead of Italy and continuing to pull away. So this could be good news for the Irish fans in the grandstand for that fourth place. At the front of the field, though, France currently leading, and then we're looking level peg between Ukraine and Poland for second and third. France across the line, Ukraine half a canvas ahead of Poland, and then coming in for fourth, it's going to be Ireland, and Ireland have pulled out to a full length ahead of Italy in that finishing sprint. Great performance by Katie O'Brien and Stephen McGowan to sew up that fourth place into the A final. That means that Italy, and then coming in for sixth place, Germany, will go through to the B final.
Imamo torej četverico, ki se je iz repasaža para mešanih dvojnih dvojcev uvrstila v finale A. To so Francozi, Ukrajinci, Poljaki in pa Irci.
We're on now to our penultimate race of this morning's block of racing. It's the repechage for the PR1 Women's Single Sculls. 5 boats lining up here. We have Eva Moll for the Netherlands in lane 1, Manuela Diening for Germany in lane 2, Anna Sheremet of Ukraine in lane 3, Moran Samuel for Israel in lane 4, and Claire Giringeli for Switzerland in lane 5.
Poglejmo, katere paraskifistke se zdaj le merijo v repasažu. Na progi 1, Nizozemska na progi 2, Nemčija na progi 3, Ukrajina na progi 4, Izrael in na progi 5, Švica.
Coming up towards 500 metres in, no surprise to see Moran Samuel out in front. Anna Sheremet currently riding in second place. That's the 1-2, and it's 4 places through to the A final. And the astute amongst you will notice I did not say that there's any progression from this race to a B final, because this is the first knockout we're going to see in the championships. The first 4 progress, and for the 5th competitor across the line, that is the end of their championship bid here in this repechage. So it's essentially a race to not be last. Moran Samuel for Israel leading ahead of Anna Sheremet. There's perhaps a length and a half separating them there. And then not much separating 3rd, 4th and 5th. There's a length and a half to 2 lengths between Sheremet in 2nd and this battle for 3rd, which is currently between Germany's Diening and Switzerland's Giringeli. Moll is perhaps half a length behind them. So Moll currently in the danger zone. They're coming up towards 750 metres in. Moll striking 29. We'll have to see whether she's got any response going through the second 500 to push herself back into contention for a place into the A final. But as they come into sight of Camilla, what did you think? Moran Samuel put in a pretty gutsy performance in the first heat against Birgit Skarstein, but she finds herself here in the repechage now, looking pretty comfortable out in front, I take it.
Yeah, I feel like it was a really brave performance yesterday from Samuel of Israel. She led until almost 500 metres to go against the World and Paralympic champion Skarstein of Norway, which would be unexpected given last season's performance from the Israeli athlete, finishing lower down in the finals, off the podium at both the Europeans and the World Championships. A big surprise for the Paralympic medalist, but she seems to have returned to form now, bounced back into winning ways and leading out this repechage currently. But a really brutal progression system, as you say here, Pete. The first knockout of the championships and the race not to be last, and especially difficult given we have two debutantes in this race and in this category. Claire Gerengeli of Switzerland, one of those debutantes, also Eva Moll, who currently trails in that final position for the Netherlands and could be going home after this repechage. The rest of the scullers, though, somewhat safe behind. Samuel of Israel, it's last year's bronze medalist from the World Championships, Anna Sheremet of Ukraine, that sort of sits in a bit of a void, a bit of a chasm there behind the open water that Samuel has created for herself at the front of the field and behind the chasing pack, trying not to be last, as you say, in these final three scullers. But a great second 500 there for Claire Gerengeli of Switzerland, who is pushing on through this ever-increasing wind that we're getting out here on Lake Bled. It seems to have picked up in the last sort of 20 to 30 minutes. It is a sort of cross breeze coming from the start of the lake towards the finish and from lane 1 towards lane 6. So it's nothing too huge. It's not creating any waves out here, that's for certain, but certainly a little bit more swell and bump than we saw in this morning's preliminaries and repechages, but coping really well with the conditions all around here, gliding across those lumps and bumps on the water and taking it within her stride. Moran Samuel of Israel showing exactly why she has been a multiple medalist in this category across a number of major championships and Paralympic Games, and she's taking it down now. She's only at 27 strokes a minute, and being able to just enjoy the race, enjoy these beautiful surroundings, and she'll be passing 7:50 to go in just a moment's time, which is where we've got our crews boating and heading out. None at the moment, as these are the last few races of the morning. We can't see anyone coming out on the water just yet, but she'll be looking back at the landing stages, and I'm sure some support from fellow athletes coming from the bank. Sheremet next across, she'll be second through 750 metres to go. And like I say, a wonderful performance here from Claire Gerengeli, the Swiss debutante, who sits in third against the more experienced Manuela Dieling of Germany, who got to experience a home European Championships in Munich last year. But still, she'll be clinging on with her fingernails to that fourth spot, because it most importantly means that she progresses through to the A final here. Eva Moll with all the work to do here as we come into the final stages of this repechage of the PR1 women's single, Richie.
Sven, Camilla, just coming into 500, I have to say, just in the last few minutes, the wind has picked up again. So this open part of the course, the widest part of the course, the wind has picked up, and it is choppier and choppier it's getting just in the last race or two, and definitely can see the difference here on the water right beside me at the 500 metre mark. The tone and the placings, I think, were set from the start with the updates that we found. The Israeli sculler Moran Samuel leading this one out. She was the fastest sculler in the heats as well out of these 5 scullers coming through. She's just gone through 500 metres in full control here. She's able to look left and look right and see any of the crews behind her. There's a considerable amount of clear water between her and the next competitor then from the Ukraine, Anna Sheremet, the youngest competitor in this field, coming in second place at the moment. And then it is back to Claire Gerengeli as in third place at the moment, the German sculler, very experienced German sculler, Manuela Dieling. Used to seeing her challenging up for medal positions, back in fourth place at the moment, ahead of Eva Moll, also making her international debut here for the Netherlands in lane 1. No doubt about the leader though, Moran Samuel, coached by Dimitri Magalon. It's going to be great to see how they get on. A real tight race that we had in the heat earlier on, and Moran Samuel was unlucky not to take the win there, led for most of the race, and just in the last 100 metres or so was pipped on the line, and dominating the race here, no doubt about it. There's 4 to go through to the final. here. So Moore and Samuel doing the right job here, getting out, holding on the lead, similar to the race that she did previously. Taking with her, right beside her in lane 3, Anna Shermet as well, looking good to qualify, along with Claire Girandelli of Switzerland and Manuela Daning. So unfortunately it will be Eva Maul from the Netherlands who won't advance onto the A final, but great international experience for Eva Maul of the Netherlands at a first international event. So the cowbells are going to cheer on Claire Girandelli in lane 5, who looks good for securing that spot, Pete. But great rowing there from Moore and Samuel to lead this one out.
Yeah, I think Moore and Samuel's race has gone just as we would have expected, leading right from the start and continuing to build that margin over the closest contender throughout the race. She's eased off the pace slightly down to 27, 28 strokes a minute, and just making sure that she conserves energy for that A final that we can expect to see later on this weekend. The PR1 women's singles is actually tomorrow at 12:50 local time. So Moran Samuel will be certain to progress into that A final. She's just ticking it over now into the last 50 metres, holding a comfortable margin on Anna Sheramet, who'll be going with her, Claire Girangeli and Manuela Diening. That looks like the 1, 2, 3, 4. Eva Mole, a great performance from her coming into her debut international event at the European Championships here in Bled. But I think that this will be where we part ways with her as we progress to the sharper end of competition this weekend.
Moran Samuel iz Izraela je torej zmagovalka tega repasaža. Že včeraj je zelo dobro sledila paraolimpijski prvakinji in pa tudi aktualni evropski prvakinji Norvežanki Skarsteinovi. No, tokrat pa zmaga v repasažu. Na drugem mestu potem ukrajinska predstavnica. 4 mesta sicer vodijo v finale A, torej samo ena od teh posadk bo odpadla iz boja za odličja.
Well, that's Diening crossing the line here, taking that 4th and last place into the A final. Great performance from Eva Mole of the Netherlands. Round of applause for her, and a great way to start off her international rowing career in this PR1 women's single sculls category.
Ja, še ena disciplina v današnjem dopoldanskem sporedu nas čaka. To pa so mešani dvojni dvojci para veslačev. In sicer imamo na progi 1 izraelsko posadko, na progi 2 italijansko, na progi 3 špansko, na progi 4 britansko, na progi 5 francosko in pa na progi 6 ukrajinsko.
We're on now to our last race of this morning. It's the preliminary race for the PR3 Mixed double sculls. All crews progress through to the A final. This will help determine which lane order they'll be in. We have Shaylee Mizrachi and Ashia Klein for Israel in lane 1, Elissa Corda and Luca Conti for Italy in 2, Veronica Rodriguez Pulido and Enrique Floriano Milan for Spain in 3, Annabelle Caddick and Samuel Murray for Great Britain in lane 4, Guillen Marchand and Laurent Cadeau for France in 5, and Daria Kotik and Stanislav Somilyuk for Ukraine in lane 6. Now, they just passed through halfway, so we'll jump straight to it. It's been a good morning of racing so far, Camilla.
It has been a wonderful morning of racing, and we've got a big gap now to recover before the first of our AB semi-finals this afternoon. And first finals, other semi-finals in fact, so lots to look forward to this afternoon. But leading out this race, well, it's the French Laurent Cadeau, last year's world champion in this category, joined by new partner Marchand in the bow seat, are about a length up on 3 crews that are level pegging between Ukraine, Great Britain, and over on the tower side, Israel as well. But as we've said, a preliminary, all crews going through. So this is mostly just a race to test speed and a race for the lanes. But France out in front, looking great to continue on their form in this new category that was introduced as a Paralympic category back in November 2021, so looking to be the first qualifiers for the Paris Paralympic Games in the PR3 Mixed double sculls later on this year at the World Championships. I'm sure these crews all have that as a name. But France leading out, Ukraine currently now in 2nd ahead of Israel, Great Britain in 4th, and then a fight at the back between Italy and Spain for the final positions. They'll be coming in front of Richie now at the 500.
definitely no one taking it easy here in this preliminary race, and with the wind picking up once again for this race, it'll be interesting to see how they're going to race against each other and go for a race position. They might want to get a better lane draw into the final of the PR3 Mixed doubles. France leading it out, as Camilla was saying. They've been in full control of the race here. They've got clear water lead ahead of the crew then from Ukraine in second place, and the GB crew doing well now to come back into contention for third, along with Israel nearest to the grandstand, and then it's some way back to the crews, and they're side by side then the crews from Spain and Italy for fifth and sixth, barely half a length separating those two crews, so they're really having a great race here beside each other for fifth and sixth. But no doubt about the leaders out there. France, we mentioned that they'll be looking to qualify for their home Olympics, so it'll be a great success story for them if they can get that under the belt. Pete, they're just coming into view for you there, but definitely dominating the race here coming in towards the finish.
Yeah, great performance by Guillaume Marchand and Laurent Cadeau for France, out in front by a significant margin. It's a couple of lengths up on Daria Kotik and Stanislav Samolyuk for Ukraine, who are holding on to second place, a length up on the Israelis, Mizrachi and Klein, who are under pressure from Great Britain's Caddick and Murray. So that's the 1, 2, 3, 4. As we've heard throughout, they'll all progress through to the A final. So let's see how and who are going to put in a strong finish demonstration for us as they come into the last 100 metres.
Sicer gre za preliminarno tekmo, torej tekmo za proge, po domače rečeno, ampak Francozinji sta v vodstvu Marchand in Cadeau. Sicer pa so svojo kandidaturo za medalje prijavile tudi Britanka, pa Izraelka in pa tudi Italijanka.
So France ease right off the pace and comfortably cross the line for the win in this preliminary race for the PR3 Mixed double. We then have Ukraine coming in second, a length up on... Ooh, it's tight for me to call there. I think Great Britain by a centimetre ahead of Israel's Mizrachi and Klein. We'll wait for the official result to separate them, but nonetheless, they're all going through to the A final, so it won't make too much of a difference. And a little bit of a battle at the back of the field here, with Italy putting in a push to move up through Spain, and it's going to be a canvas across the line between 5th and 6th. So that's the preliminary race for the PR3 Mixed double done, and the last race of our morning session. So great morning's racing, and we'll see all of those PR3 Mixed doubles progress through to the A final that we can look forward to tomorrow at 1:08 local time.
Ja, takole imamo torej prve tri v tej preliminarni tekmi, zmaga torej za Francozini. Na drugem mestu Ukrajinki, malce sem jih prejle spregledala, no potem pa še na tretjem mestu Izrael in pa na četrtem mestu Velika Britanija. Sledita pa potem še italijanska in pa španska posadka. To je bila torej zadnja tekma tega dopoldanskega dela drugega dne Evropskega prvenstva na Bledu. Popoldne nas čakajo seveda še polfinalni in pa nekaj finalnih nastopov. Med drugim, torej slovenski navijači, bodite zraven. Nekje okoli 3:30 se začnejo polfinala CD, kjer bo nastopil tudi Filip Matej Pfeiffer. Lahko rečemo kar rahli osmoljenec današnjih repasažev. Le malo je zmanjkalo, da bi se prebil v polfinale AB, torej v polfinale, kjer se veslači tekmujejo za mesta od 1 do 12. No, Matej bo seveda poskušal čim boljše izhodišče iskati danes popoldne in vzpodbuda s tribun strani slovenskih navijačev bo prišla vsekakor prav. Sicer pa si bomo zdaj vzeli odmor in nadaljujemo torej s polfinali za lahke moške dvojne dvojce ob 15. uri.
Well, I hope you've enjoyed this morning's session of racing as much as we have. We are now through all of the repêchages, all of the heats. All that remains in this championship now our semi-finals and finals. Loads to look forward to. We're going to be breaking for lunch for a couple of hours now, give everybody a chance to get fed and watered before we get back to racing again at 3 o'clock with the first semi-finals of the championship weekend, the 2 AB semis for the lightweight men's doubles, and then we've got the first final of the weekend, the C final for the lightweight men's double at 3:10, and then we're into the CD semi-finals for the men's double and the men's singles. So 30 minutes or so of racing to look forward to this afternoon, off at 3 o'clock. And while you're contemplating what's coming this weekend, over your lunch perhaps, make sure you get in touch with us on social media. We'd love to hear from you. You can get hold of us on Instagram with the handle @WorldRowingOfficial, and on Facebook and Twitter using the handle @WorldRowing. I've specially organised this military fly past for you, so I hope you're enjoying the helicopter coming by. Make sure you send us your photos from what else you might be seeing from around the boat park or around this beautiful picturesque area of Lake Bled. Tell us what you think about the racing and the strategies that we're seeing unfold as we get towards the finals this weekend. Tweet us your thoughts, send us your pictures on Instagram, and who knows, maybe you'll get a repost or a retweet or a question thrown your way. While you're wandering around the boat park, make sure you pick up your souvenirs. You can head over to the World Rowing merchandise store that's right next to the information centre near the boating area. And they've got lots of fantastic goodies there that you might want to take home to friends and family, or to remember this European Championships here for 2023 in Bled. Now, I said we're going to break for lunch, so we'll be back with you shortly before 3 o'clock for the first of this afternoon's races.